need that.
And we are live.
Yes, and I lost the cap of my water. Alrighty.
How's everybody doing? Welcome to our annual horror ranking.
Yes, indeed.
We will be ranking 31 2024 horror movies, or at least horror adjacent movies. Some horror comedies in there.
I caught it before it went on. I'm trying to think. This might be a record for us.
It is. It's the one. That's why I wanted to do 31.
So 2023, we did 20 movies.
We've done 30 before. Is the highest we've done.
Oh shit! Really?
For a year ranking for like 2024, 2023. I think 2022. I think we did 30 movies.
I'm looking. Here we go. Son of a bitch, we did 30 movies.
Yep.
So we got 31 on this time. Anthony. 31 movies today. So we did get our record.
Exactly. Hey, Dan. Dan's still trying to come up with his top 10 for 2024.
Top 10's hard. Especially if I had to narrow this down to a top 10. Thank you for joining
us. How you doing?
Who is?
Yeah, Dan, it's definitely it's tricky. I mean, Jason and I were just talking about now how we're never really completely satisfied with our rankings, but we're as satisfied as we're going to be. Hey, Verge.
Hey, Verge. Hey, Horror in Texas. Hey, Dan. Top 10 for 2024. I'm pretty sure I know one that I put in there that you'll have that will be in your top 10. At least I think it will. But I don't know about the rest of them.
I will say this, if we were including everything and not just horror, Nora would definitely be on my list. Fucking love that movie.
Well, the only thing I saw in horror, I think, well, you saw something too, didn't you? Didn't you see something that I didn't see in horror this year?
In horror?
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably would have included it if we did.
Huh. The only thing I saw was Tarot.
Yeah, Dan, we haven't watched that one yet, so no spoilers, please. But how did you like it?
Which one?
Dan watched Strange Darling the other night.
Oh, yeah, we have that.
Yeah, that was going to be part of our 2023 re-ranking if we do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Horror in Texas. Another good year. I feel like 2022, 2023, and 2024 have been really strong.
Oh, man. Good time to be a horror fan, really.
I mean, 2022, I've said it before, I think that's like the strongest year in horror since 1981. I think that is like the strong, literally, not even exaggerating. I think 2022 is one of the all-time strongest years for horror.
You're probably right on that.
I mean, we had like remake sequels, like a lot of franchise movies that year. We had great original horror. Dan loved Strange Darling. Horror in Texas says Strange Darling is good. Verge says Strange Darling was interesting. We like that word here.
Uh-huh. He loved it. Oh, okay. That's awesome, Dan. Halloween Ends, The Munsters. Nope. Hellraiser, Sick. Yes, it was a great
Scream, Barbarian.
Yep. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Prey, Orphan First Kill.
2022 was insane.
Yes. Curse of Bridge Hollow. I mean, it's The Northman. Jesus.
I know.
Nuts. A lot of really good movies. Even the ones that we put towards the bottom.
Exactly.
Pretty good.
Hey, Craig.
Hey, Greg.
2022 was huge.
You know, somebody was talking about bodies again the other day.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. But I just, as far as they were calling it like one of the best slasher movies in years, it just didn't do that for me.
The problem we had with it was the characters, remember?
Yes. They were really not likable.
Yeah, they were way too in modern times. Yes, I was trying to find a different word without saying that, but that's exactly what it was. Yeah. So one of those movies that people are thinking. I don't think it's going to age well at all, especially
Good.
now. That's the problem with it. So. Yeah, Craig, Hard Eyes was great. Had a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah, I had a blast with that. Even my wife liked it, and she doesn't like horror movies.
She liked it for the romantic comedy aspects.
She did.
Yeah.
And I think she thought that the kills were, even though they were brutal, they were kind of still tongue in cheek in a way. And I think that, like the wine.
I was gonna say that chick that turned into wine
was amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Right, but it still is a little tongue in cheek.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, it really was.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some genuine comedy in that movie.
Yeah.
Like
definitely.
She literally throws the freaking dildo at the dude.
Great. That was freaking great. And you see it on the
you see the vibrator thing that's like wiggling around. Yeah. Even the way that scene happens, at first you're like, wait a minute, is that really you know what I mean? Is that really happening? And then it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, I'm the same. Horror in Texas. Bodies was okay.
Verge. It's funny. We actually we watched The Substance again last night.
We did.
Because every now and then we have to go back and sometimes watch things multiple times just to finalize our rankings. And that's what we did last night.
Still have not seen Smile 2.
That'll be on our list tonight, Craig. That'll be coming up.
Yeah.
We're gonna start we'll start about 10 minutes, 9:15 or so, like we normally do.
Wherever we rank things, just not that you wouldn't do this anyway, but just watch them for yourself, because,
as we always say,
yeah, make up your own mind. Don't listen to us. Don't listen to anyone else. Just make up your own mind.
I'm sure I can see Trick or Treat Studios doing that, Craig. I'm sure they'll get a Hard Eyes license.
Oh, that would be so cool to have that mask. That mask was a lot better even than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it's cool how the eyes lit up and stuff.
Yeah. Actually, my wife liked that too, because she was like, "Oh, night vision." I was like, "Yep." That's pretty damn cool.
Horror in Texas, we're ranking 31. So, I mean, our top 10 will obviously be included in that, but
yeah,
we have 31 movies that we'll be ranking from 2024.
Yep.
Again, all horror or horror adjacent, so they can be horror comedies and whatnot. Like I said, again, if we were including non-horror too, then I would have definitely have Anora up there pretty high, and I probably would have also watched Reagan by now to include that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we're definitely both curious on Reagan.
Abigail was 2024, Craig. That'll be on our list tonight.
Yeah. Fun movie. Yeah, this was a really strong year. I don't know. 2022 was great. 2023 was really good.
Yeah, it's crazy to think, like, I probably say 2022, 2023, then 2024, but they're all strong.
Yeah, I don't know.
2023 had Saw X and Scream 6 in the same year. I mean, those two right there were like huge.
Yeah, but I mean, there were some strong ones in this one too, like The Quiet Place, Day One, and
but I'm looking at like say like my top 5. Like 2023, you had Saw X, you had Scream 6, you had Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I mean, you had some movies, like you had like 6 movies that would qualify for like the number 1 spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. We had a few this year, maybe a few that will qualify.
Like I said, don't get me wrong, it's still super strong. It shows you how strong 2022 and 2023 were.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, this has been these 3 years have been great to be a horror fan.
Yeah, Dan, Iced is a lot of fun. We did that for a live stream one time for New Year's movie. Verge, The Substance, we were saying that. It's 2 hours and 21 minutes. It's the longest movie on the list this year, but it does fly by. It's really well paced.
Subservience for the sex scene alone. Hell yeah. That's one I watched twice.
Yeah.
Because I'm a prevert. I'm a prevert. Yeah, there's some really good stuff.
Oh yeah,
really good stuff this year. Yeah, some big surprises for me. Big surprises.
Yep, that'll be on here, Craig. Trap.
Yep. We tried to watch pretty much everything we thought was going to be asked about.
Yeah, so the only one I can think of that we're not is Wolfman because it's not out on physical media yet. That comes
Right.
out next month.
Well, and
So
Tarot.
yeah, I just Tarot that for me that was like a Walmart one. Like I don't know, it wasn't like a hugely. It was more like people picked it up at Walmart and were like, "Oh, this movie sucks." Talk about. Whereas you know
Well,
what I mean?
yeah.
It's one of those kind of movies. Like another one would be like Stung was another one that I was,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
but
yeah.
again, it was like almost like a Walmart movie where people found it at Walmart, so they talked about it because of that.
Yeah.
But like the reason why we have 31, number one was because I wanted to break our record of doing 30 in the past, but also because Nosferatu just came out and we were like, we can't not include Nosferatu. So
Yeah.
we specifically waited until that came out to do this stream. And I didn't want to wait any longer. I don't want to wait another whole month for Wolfman to come out. Because then
Yeah,
then you
we
get
did consider it.
we did consider it, but then you get into the end of March and it's
Yeah.
like, you know,
I actually
2024.
can't wait to watch that.
Oh, I'm definitely curious. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
definitely be getting it. But I'm happy with the movies that we've done. We other than that, I think we covered every one that should be covered.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of what we've done this year.
Oh, for sure. All right. So again, anybody in the chat, we are ranking 31 horror movies from 2024, starting with our least favorite, working our way to our favorite. Keep in
Yeah.
mind, it's just our personal rankings. You don't have to agree or even understand. We're not asking you to. We have our own way of ranking things, based on, I mean, no nostalgia really in this case, but rewatchability, overall enjoyment, that sort of thing, various factors, just our own personal preferences.
Yeah, we
So,
got little quirps like
exactly.
runtime and you know.
That's
Yeah.
another one we thought about horror in Texas, but we didn't end up getting that one yet. I'll probably pick it up at some point, but that won't be
Yeah.
part of the list tonight.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that werewolves. So I've been kind of curious. I
Alex
don't,
saying,
yeah, don't understand. I don't understand either, Alex. So you got me on that one too.
so with that being said, what is your least favorite horror movie of 2024?
Put it on me, huh?
And we have the same one, so you can go ahead and say it.
Yeah. My least favorite movie of 2024 is the Crow remake with Bill Skarsgård.
Yep.
Now, I do like Bill Skarsgård. I think he was amazing in Nosferatu. However, and I don't want to say what a lot of other people say, like, oh, you just shouldn't touch Halloween. You shouldn't touch Friday the 13th.
It had nothing to do with that, yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't touch The Crow because of Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
But when you watch the movie, I really wanted to like this movie.
Oh, me too.
Because I like the story behind it. I like the revenge aspect. And there were some things I thought that were kind of neat in the film. And, Joe and I did do a positive spin on it. It was a difficult one to do a positive spin on, but we did do it. And there were a couple things about the movie I liked, but overall, yeah, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
My biggest problem with it was
characters
in the original Crow, and I hate to I don't always judge things. I like to see things for their own merit. But whether you're a fan of the comics, whether you're a fan of the original Crow, you have Eric Draven is a very likable hero.
Yes.
You're completely rooting for him. I mean, you barely get to know Shelley in the original Crow, but you're still all in on their relationship because of what happens to them.
Yeah, and that's
In
a
this
hard thing to
remake,
do.
in this remake, almost the entirety of the movie is them meeting each other and then getting together, and they seem to kind of get very close very quickly,
Yeah.
and they seem very toxic, and they're not very likable,
Yeah.
and I don't feel that they had chemistry. And it's nothing against the actors. It's just I find it hard when you can't root for the main characters.
Yes.
Like, they weren't good people.
Yeah.
Like, Eric Draven in, Brandon Lee's, performance as Eric Draven in the original, he's a guy you root for.
Yeah.
In this, it's like, why were you rooting for this version of Eric? It just
Yeah.
wasn't there. It wasn't connecting with those characters. I feel like I don't necessarily think Bill Skarsgård was miscast. I feel like his character wasn't written properly. I do feel like Shelley was miscast, and it's not necessarily anything against the actress either. I just don't think they had any chemistry. And again, I found myself not really rooting for them, and that was a big problem for me. I
Yeah.
also had an issue with the villains in this remake. It just seemed like almost like faceless villains.
Yeah.
Cartoon
characters almost.
Yeah. And they seem like they would be like villains in like a 90s cartoon. Like,
or a video game.
Yeah, like something like that. I will say I like the ending. I like there was some brutal kills, and I like how the actual movie ended. I thought that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, when we were watching this, and as you guys know, Jason and I have been told before, you guys like everything, and we've gotten criticism for that. We really, really wanted to like this movie. But I can tell you guys, when we were watching it, I mean, we weren't even like 20 minutes in and we were like, oh my God, we want this to end. It was not working. It was not working.
I mean, it was a competently made film for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
But it had very odd tones in the film. I just didn't care for it. Yeah, I agree with you, Alex. I have seen a couple of the others in the series, and they don't compare.
They don't. I don't mind them though. I mean, people give them a lot of crap. Them. I mean, they're fun for what they are. You just have to have realistic expectations. Right. With that being said, the Crow remake is my least favorite in that franchise.
Yes.
Like the sequels, I will watch the sequels 10 times over before I want to watch this remake again. I was not liking it. And that, it takes a lot for me to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, there was it was a long time when you and I were watching this before we actually were able to say, when we were messaging back and forth, that, oh, that was pretty cool,
Yeah.
Because we comment on special effects, we comment on acting, we comment on surroundings, settings and stuff like that, and it was rough. It was rough. So number 31 is over. What do you got for number 30, Joe?
I think we have the same number 30 again.
Think so.
And that is Smile 2.
Smile 2.
Yep.
You want to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Age Before Beauty.
Joe, thank you. Joe and I even went as far as to rewatch the original Smile, which neither one of us cared for that either.
That was our least favorite movie of 2022. We both had that ranked dead last.
It was. And once again, I didn't care for the movie. It didn't do any better for me than it did in the original. But we figured, since the new one's coming out and the new one's been getting a little bit of buzz, we should probably rewatch the first one to get current with what's happening. Mm-hmm. And I will say, this movie started out strong.
The opening is my favorite part.
Of it, the first 10, 15 minutes of it were badass.
Yep.
From there, that movie just goes nowhere for me. And again, it's a lot of, we got to see 2 movies where there are famous people being tormented. I'm trying to think of the other one now. But which one was it, Joe? Oh, Night Swim was the other one. Yeah. Where you have 2 famous people who are being tormented. In Smile 2, it was a rock star girl and in Night Swim, it was a former baseball player. And I just didn't like any of the characters in Smile 2. It just, yeah, it was just bad.
I mean, that's so the issue I had with the first Smile is that other than like one character, I didn't like anybody.
Nope.
And then there's one character in, I don't want to spoil anything, there's one character in the sequel that I like, but this character is not in the movie enough. Let's just
Hardly
say that.
at all. Yes.
So the problem is, again, I don't like when movies are built around main characters that are not likable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel for these. Listen, I get that everybody's flawed and people make mistakes and people don't make the best decisions and stuff like that. But again, I find it hard to root for certain characters, and that's kind of how I felt in Smile 2. Also, it's very long. It's a very long movie for what it is. Yeah. There is a lot of stuff that could have been shortened.
Yes.
Like we know she's a singer. We don't need to see her like rehearsing. I didn't. How many times you got to see like?
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like the first movie is guilty of this too. There are moments in the movie that I could like, but the problem is it takes so long to get to them.
Yeah.
Like it just drags in between like the horror moments. And again, when it's dragging with characters that you're not really enjoying, that makes it harder. Like if you had enjoyable characters, it's fine if there's no horror moments, even for an hour of a film, if you're enjoying the characters.
Yeah.
The problem is when you don't have characters that are very likable and there's not a lot going on that's really progressing the story, it's kind of like, oh, get on with it already. And again, I will say I'm glad people like the movies. You know, people seem to really love Smile. People seem to love Smile 2. A lot of people were saying they love Smile 2 better than the original Smile. I'm glad people like them. I'm just not getting it. I don't understand.
Well, I like Smile 2 more than the first one.
I do too, but I don't really like. I don't like either of them. I mean, I really don't. And again, I'm saying this as somebody who's been criticized for liking everything. I just, I don't understand why there's like this mass appeal for Smile, other than what we talked about when we were watching it. My theory is, I feel like Smile and Smile 2 sort of marketed towards more of a general audience than just like a horror audience. Yeah. I feel like they're the type of horror movies that people watch that don't typically watch horror movies. So they see something that's like scary for the first time in a while, and they're like, "Oh, this was really good because I jumped a few times." So they're equating like the fact that there's jump scares and something creepy happens with, "Oh yeah, that movie was awesome." Whereas I think like horror fans like us were like, I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, It Follows did it. Truth or Dare did it. Like, and those movies, in my opinion, did them better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really do wish that I liked both of those movies more, but.
Well, we even watched the first one again.
Exactly.
We needed to see if anything had changed for either one of us. And I don't think I disliked it more, but I definitely didn't like it anymore either. So,
yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
In the second one, since we're talking about Smile 2, I love the opening, the first 10 minutes or so. I was like, all right, this is great. We're off to a good start here. This is good. This is going to be promising.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh my God. I do like the end, but the problem is the same issue I had with the first movie. By the time we get to the ending, I'm done. I've lost interest in the movie. I don't care. I just want it to be over.
Yep.
So even though I like the ending of both the first film and the second film, I'm like out of it by then. Like my mind is sort of unfocused and I'm just like, okay, I'm ready for the credits to roll so I can watch something that I will enjoy more.
Yeah.
So
we almost needed a palate cleanser after that one.
Yeah, definitely, Alex. I do. It Follows is better. Craig, we're going to be talking about that, so we'll see.
Nice. Okay. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better. We'll get there, Craig.
All right. So what do you have for number 29?
29. I don't know if we have the same thing.
I think we do, unless you changed it.
I didn't change it. I have The Watchers for number 29.
We're the same again.
And from here, all the way to number one.
I like all these. Yeah.
I like all these films.
Yes.
All of them had value for me. All of them had just fun.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of fun this year in horror movies. The Watchers, however, the runtime was a little bit too long.
This one got a lot of hate.
It did. I felt like they could have cut a few things out and still been okay.
This is M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, by the way.
Yeah, but all in all, I thought the story was fantastic.
Yes.
For people who want original horror, I thought The Watchers was actually pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I like the characters, which, you know, for the last two movies, we didn't. And, you know, as you're watching the movie, it was kind of set up similar to her father's films in his catalog. You kind of learn more as you go.
Mm-hmm.
But I was okay with that. I was okay with finding out. It wasn't like, oh, come on, just get with the rest of the
I liked it like that. I think I kind of preferred it like that, to be honest.
Yeah, I do too. And that's one of the things I like about his stories. That's where you get all of your famous twists from his films. Yep. But yeah, I really like this movie, and it was a shame it had to go at number 29, but I couldn't justify putting it any higher based on the other films that we watched. So
I agree with what you said. I think it may have been able to move up maybe a spot or two if it wasn't for the runtime. I think it dragged a little in parts.
Mm-hmm.
If it was shortened a little bit, I do think it may have moved up at least a spot probably for me, because I do really like it. I like the idea. I like the concept. I like the characters. I like the location. Yeah. But again, there's times when it was kind of dragging a little bit, and I was like, okay, come on, on to the next thing here. Like, let's go. But for the most part, I really did enjoy it.
It's a movie I'll watch again sometime. It may take a little while, but I'll watch it again. So.
Yep.
All right, Joe, what do you have for number 28?
Number 28, I have The Strangers, Chapter 1.
Now is where we differ. Okay.
So I have The Strangers, Chapter 1 here. I really liked it. I don't understand all the hate for it, especially for the fact people are like, oh, it didn't have to be done like this. First of all, there's nothing in the movie that confirms that it's actually a remake, number one. Number two, it had to be done like this in order to continue this new trilogy that's being made. Yeah. Because they're not continuing the next movie with the characters from the original Strangers. So they had to establish these new characters going through this in order to carry on for this trilogy. Yep. So anybody who says that, it doesn't really make sense. You gotta kind of get to think about what you're saying. Like, there's an obvious reason why it was made.
Right.
With that being said, I liked it. The issue I had was it was nothing new, because it is in essence a reimagining of the first movie, or at least a similar storyline to the original movie. So while I liked it, it was just like, okay, I've seen it before. It's not really offering anything new to the genre, but I enjoyed watching it. I like the characters. I like the killers. You know, again, the location. Exactly. Yeah. It's just like a slasher that you watch, like, okay, cool. It's just another cool slasher. But that was really it. Like, there was no like pizzazz. There was nothing extra for me to really like hold on to it. I'm glad I have it in my collection. You know, I'd probably watch it again, of course, especially when the new ones come out. But again, I wasn't like wowed by it. I was just like, okay, that was cool. Yeah. Nothing special.
All right.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, Jack. For
what do you have?
Number 28. And I have a feeling we maybe just have these
swapped.
Flipped over. I have The Mousetrap for number 28. I was the one that got Joe to watch The Mousetrap. Now, this is one of the ones that we probably could have left off the list, but I didn't want to, because this movie got a ton of hate. And when I watched it, I had a blast with it.
We also did a positive spin for this recently.
Yes, we did. Yeah. So, Mousetrap. Man, was this a fun one. it changed some of the tropes of your slasher movie, but why not? If you're going to have a character who is killing people wearing a Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse head, why does it have to stop there? You know, if you can suspend disbelief long enough to go with that, why couldn't you for the other tropes? And I don't want to give it away because I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't seen it, but I really had fun with this. I like the setting, being in an arcade. The kids were okay. You know, cannon fodder. There were a couple that were pretty cool. The rest of them were kind of unlikable, which is not unusual for a slasher film. And I like Simon. I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Is it Simon Boswell? Simon something. But he was also involved in Once Upon a Time at Christmas and the sequel called The Days Before Christmas or The Day Before Christmas, something like that. And I like his characters in the film, and I like that he had something to do with writing the film as well. So I had a really good time with it. Yeah. Joe, what do you have for number 27?
You ready for this? In a Violent Nature.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. We're not too far.
In a Violent Nature, man.
I know.
Where do I even begin with this one?
I like
it a lot. It's weird how I equally love it and I can't say dislike it. There's stuff I dislike about it, and there's stuff that I love about it. It's the ending of the movie that it just got me like, all right, it just dragged at the end. It really friggin' dragged.
I thought that was cool.
I get the point, but it was too long.
Yeah,
that part of it's too long. Like you can make the same point without it dragging that long when they did that at the end. It's too much. I like the idea of it, like, you know, seeing like a slasher movie through the killer's eyes, like that whole point of view thing. It's like almost like playing like a video game as like as like the killer. I like that idea. It also leaves us in an odd predicament where you don't really have like a final girl or even like characters to like kind of root for because you're really following the killer around. Yeah. So it's something that you sort of have to get used to, and I don't know how well it will do upon rewatch after rewatch after rewatch. You know, I just don't know how it's going to fare in that way with rewatchability. It was just the end that really did it for me. This definitely would have been higher if not for
the ending.
I
get that. I understand.
Just friggin' dragged. But again, I still like it. You know, all of these, like you said, anything from like the Watchers Up, I do like.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like maybe this was the one that I was most disappointed in because I feel like it had a lot more potential, and then it kind of, a lot of it got wiped away with that at the end because it was like, ugh.
Yeah.
So I just felt disappointed with that part of it.
I get it.
What do you have next?
For number 27, you and I were kind of reversed with this one. I had The Strangers Chapter 1.
Okay.
Pretty much with everything you said, I really liked it. I thought it was fun. I understand why they did this. I understand why they, you know, in order to make the series progress, you kind of have to start at the beginning. I will say this. I like Liv Tyler and I like Scott. Is it Scott Speedman?
Mm-hmm.
From the first one. However, I do think that this couple had better chemistry for me.
Yeah,
maybe
I agree.
Not for everyone.
I actually agree with that.
Yeah, I like their chemistry better. I mean, it's not that.
Although I think that's kind of the point, because in the original they've kind of like just broken up basically.
Exactly. So for me, it was like better chemistry. I love the surroundings. I like how they kept the main parts of the film, like his Tamara there. I like how they pop up every once in a while behind you. I thought that was done really well.
Yeah.
And overall, it was a fun slasher / home invasion film. And I don't understand the hate for it. So, like you, I watched it. I had a good time with it. It didn't set the world on fire, but I remember telling you about it. I was like, I liked it.
It's just a decent, solid slasher film.
Yes. And people shit all over. It's like, okay, well, if the first one was so iconic, then what's wrong with this when you say it's the same exact thing?
Exactly.
I don't get it. Because it's not technically, because you have different characters, you have a different setup, and whatever. We can talk about this till the cows come home, but it's like I enjoyed it, and it's at my number 20.
Like I said, I think people, I feel like so many people have a problem like separating things. Like, I prefer the original, so I somehow have to hate this one.
Right.
Like, I understand. Like, I prefer the original too. I prefer Strangers Pray at Night over all of them so far.
Me too.
But that doesn't mean that I hate this one just because I prefer the original. So
right.
I just don't understand how someone can hate this one if they like the original. If they hate the original, then okay, then I understand why they would hate this one. But how can you like the original film but hate this one?
Yes.
And again, I'm not saying you can't like the original and prefer the original, but it doesn't make sense to hate this one when it's the same damn thing.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I mean, it's essentially the same movie.
Yeah. That's what always kills me about Psycho.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I can understand hating the fact that it's a shot for shot, quote unquote, is what people say. I can understand hating that idea, but how can you actually hate the movie when it's the same thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. That's like one of those pet peeves I have about like movie fanatics. It just doesn't make any sense.
It's like they have to pick a side for some reason.
Yeah.
And that's not always what it's about. It's about I can like all three movies. I can like one more than the other, and that's okay. But it doesn't mean that because I like one movie, I have to hate the other.
Yes.
It just doesn't.
And again, and especially in a case when the movie is pretty much the same movie. So what do you hate it? How can you hate a movie that you claim that you love?
Yeah.
I mean,
yep.
Very weird.
So yeah, that's my number 27. Joe, what do you got for 27?
I think I did my 27, right? I think I'm on 26.
Okay.
Next up, I have The Mousetrap. So yeah, I have The Mousetrap here. For me, honestly, the reason why it's as high as it is, location.
Oh my god, I love the arcade. Oh my god,
the setting is amazing.
Yes, it is.
I like the killer's ability in the movie. It's a unique twist on the slasher genre.
Jarring at first, but it works well.
Well, you kind of warned me, so I think that helped.
I did.
But I honestly like it. I do. Because why not?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, it works in the scope of the film. So this isn't like the Scream universe or something where everything's supposed to be like, almost like real, like this real world, this real universe where things are supposed to make sense. It works in this movie. But for me, the setting, it's basically like this giant like family fun center.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Like, arcade rides, laser tag, all that sort of thing.
Yes.
Love the location. It's so much fun. I like the ending too because that means we're getting a sequel, I would hope.
Yeah. I should look up that guy's name.
But
to tell you guys to look out for him, because I'm telling you, you're going to be seeing more movies. I was a little skeptical at first because I saw, of course, Once Upon a Time at Christmas and the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I saw that he was doing this one and he was producing and writing, and also the bad guy in this one, which is kind of a weird way he ends up as the bad guy as well. Let me look up his name real quick.
No.
I gotta. Let's see. Here we go. Simon Phillips. That's the guy's name, Simon Phillips. why did I say Boswell? Yeah, Simon Phillips. He's just a fun. He can play all different kinds of parts, and I like that about him being a bad guy. It just works for me. So, yeah.
All right, what do you got next?
Number 26, I saw the TV Glow.
Okay.
I really like this. I wasn't sure if I was going to. I know that I said I wasn't going to watch this one, but Joe actually convinced me to watch it.
See, for all you people out there who think certain things about me.
Yeah. He convinced me to watch this, and I will say, I thought it was a really interesting. I thought it was a really interesting film. I like the nostalgia. I like the bonding over a TV show, because I think a lot of us do that, not only with TV but with movies, especially movies and TV that have nostalgia that you're like obsessed with. And I think that's what draws us all to each other in this like YouTube community thing.
Yep.
So there's a lot of really cool stuff in this film. I like the chemistry between the two people, even though it's a very odd chemistry. I just think it's a neat film. It's very well made, and I was one of the people who didn't like the first movie that this director came out with, called We're All Going to the World's Fair. When I watched it a second time, I liked it a lot more.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah. So this person, the director, has some real talent. I think has a real eye for film. So yeah, I enjoyed it. So my number 26 is I saw the TV Glow. Not as heavy on the horror as you might think from a lot of our other stuff.
But when it's there, it's there.
Horror, oh yeah, it's definitely there.
Yeah.
Definitely there. So yeah. Haven't watched the TV Glow yet. It's one of those movies that you kind of have to kind of sit back.
You gotta immerse yourself into it.
Yeah, you kind of have to open your mind and just take it all in.
Soundtrack is pretty amazing too.
Yeah, definitely. It's a slow burn. It is a slow burn, Jack. I mean, I can understand that.
It's funny because I actually prefer probably like the first 2/3 over the last third of it. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, well, I don't know, that the last act is kind of like really messed up.
It is.
Yeah. So, all right, Joe, what do you got for number? Well, I guess you're on 25.
I got Night Swim next.
For number 25?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
This one kind of jumped around a little bit. Unfortunately, just kind of landed here. But you know, Night Swim is basically the Amityville pool or the Amityville water. I mean, This is essentially an Amityville film without the Amityville title. So we did a positive spin for this one too, which you guys won't see for a while. Won't be showing up until the summer. But something that I said in that video that I'm going to say again here, because you probably will forget by then, is I find it odd that this movie gets so much criticism and so much hate and this and that, yet people will love like the Amityville Horror and the Amityville Horror remake, when that is what I think this is most comparable to, is the Amityville remake, Amityville Horror remake. Like that's what this movie felt like. That's what this movie basically is. I mean, even storyline wise, it's very much an Amityville film without being set in Amityville. So
I liked it more.
I liked it more. And I said that in my video too. I actually prefer this. When I first saw the previews for Night Swim, for some reason I thought it was going to be a teen horror film, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
There's something about the trailer that made it seem that way. And then I started hearing what it was, and people like crapping all over it as they do. And I was still excited to see it. I think I bought it the day it came out, and Jason and I actually just watched this one not long ago. This was one of the last ones we watched, and I gotta say I was pretty damn impressed with it. it's a shame that it gets the criticism that it does, because I think it has likable characters, which is something we've said that was lacking in some of these other movies so far that
Yep.
people love, by the way, like Smile 2. You have likable characters in it, cool like suburban neighborhood setting, and the storyline is a lot more than people give it credit for. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
people are just repeating what others have said in reviews. I'm not sure if people haven't paid attention while watching the movie, because what they
Well, a
say
lot of
it's
people say
about,
it doesn't make any sense.
yeah, what they say it's about is not really what it's about. So
Yeah.
I wish people would give things a fair shot instead of just kind of
Jack didn't like
guessing.
it at all.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but I liked it a lot. I wish I could rank it higher. It's just this is where it landed. So
Yeah. I get that. I get that. All right. Number 25, right?
yep.
25, I had a higher movie that got dropped because of someone. And my number 25 is Blink Twice.
You really dropped that. Holy.
It dropped because I started to think about what you said. And once again, actually, you have it higher than I do.
I do.
And this is
much,
one that
though.
my wife actually wanted to see, probably because of Channing Tatum. But she wanted to see this, so we kind of went out. I think we rented it at first. Did we?
We did.
Okay. We rented it. I watched it. I was quite impressed with it. So I bought it.
Hey, Rob.
And
No problem.
hey, Rob. That's all right. Yeah, I bought it, watched it, enjoyed it, and I think the second time I watched it with you.
Yes.
And then
you were hyping it up big time too. You were like, "We got to watch this movie. I can't wait for you to watch this movie."
I liked it.
I do too. Obviously, I have it. I have it higher than you. I liked it too. But again, it's like it was one of the things we watched it, and I was telling you, and you were like, "Oh no."
I'm really oblivious to some things, and you know, look, if I like something, I like it. If I don't, I don't. But
Exactly.
you know, even though I know you didn't particularly care for Last Night in Soho for certain reasons, I loved it. I thought it was great. That never changed. This one, however, kind of hit hard when I really thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I thought about it, it pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to leave it at that. You can watch it for yourself. I like the acting. I like the premise to a certain degree. And the premise was one of the things that hurt this movie for me in the long run. I thought that Channing Tatum was freaking great in this. Never been really a big fan of his, but I will tell you something. He's got chops. That whole "I'm sorry" thing chills me to the bone every time I see it.
We actually have a controversial view of this movie coming up soon.
Yeah, probably early next month, I think.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. And you'll hear our thoughts on it. But I do like this film. I just don't like some of the backstory.
Yeah.
I don't give away.
I'll talk about it more when I get to it too. I think it's not so, for me, it's not so much the concept, it's the fact that it's a concept that could have been explored in a different way.
Yes.
And instead, the director, who is a feminist director, decided to focus more on her agenda and her message than the actual movie. And that's what pisses me off about it, because this movie has so much potential.
Yes.
And it's, at first glance, it's like, wow, this is really good. And then you start to see how it's playing out, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, what are they doing?
Yeah. And I'll be the first one to agree. I set everything in fantasy land. When I watch a movie, I'm there to be taken away.
Absolutely.
I'm not there to be reminded of this, that, or the other thing. So I tend to take movies just for what they are on film. Sometimes that's great. Sometimes it's not. And I'll think about a movie afterwards. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. They got one on me. They got one over on me. And that's the way I felt with this one. So I do like the film, but it is at number 25. All right. What do you got, Joe?
24, I have Cuckoo.
Really?
Yeah. I actually
I'm disappointed.
No, I almost moved this down too because
more.
I didn't move it down, but I almost moved it down. But my again, like you were just saying, you like to separate the art from the artist, kind of thing. Because earlier today I saw this post about Hunter Schafer, who is the star of the movie.
Yeah.
How this performer had to have their passport changed because of the gender marked off on their passport, because obviously
I know.
Obviously now there's officially on federal documents there are only two genders. Not trying to offend anybody, just stating what the facts are right now.
Yes.
In the federal government there are two genders, so Hunter Schafer had to have, I don't even know what pronouns this person goes by. Hunter Schafer had the passport changed to fit the biological birth gender, which was male. So went on this big rant about that and all of this hateful speech about it and this and that and blah blah blah.
I'm
blah
glad
blah.
I didn't see it.
So that just kind of pissed me off today. I was like, I'm gonna move freaking Cuckoo down, but I didn't. I didn't. I left it where it is. It's funny because my mom had watched this movie. I think she was the first person I knew that watched it. Another friend of mine watched it, and then we watched it. And every person that I saw that watched it, they said, "Oh, I liked it, but it was weird." And I definitely get it. It's a weird kind of movie. It's different, but it's original. So again, when people say they want original horror, you can't fault this movie for not being original, because it really was a really cool original story. I was really impressed with it.
Yeah.
The problem is with it, the reason why I have it here is because it's not a movie I'm going to be able to put on a lot and just be like, oh, I feel like watching Cuckoo right now. It's a movie that I kind of need to be in the mood for, I think. There's a lot to dissect in it.
I think you're right about that. Yeah.
I don't think it has that rewatchability factor that a lot of the others do. I think I'm going to enjoy it when I rewatch it, but I don't think it's one that I'm going to rewatch as much as a lot of the others. So
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm going to save my thoughts for when it comes up in the in my list. Let's see. My 24, I hope Craig's still here, because my number 24 is Imaginary.
Okay.
This one moved up a lot. This was one I actually convinced Joe that we should do, because I saw it and I really enjoyed it. And then you got it, and then we watched it, and I really enjoyed it again. And something that Craig said about the third act being freaking batshit crazy. And I agree. It's really cool. Look, okay. Horror people say they want, and not all of them, but a lot of horror fans said, oh, well, we've seen this a 1,000 times before. We want originality. And then you get movies like Cuckoo. You get movies like Imaginary. And, of course, what my number one's going to end up being. And then they crap on it.
Yeah.
Because it's too far removed, or almost like it's not like everything else. So that way we must shit on it.
Well,
I don't get it.
It's like everything else. It's funny. People say they want originality.
Yeah.
People say they want change. It's like that. Anything else? Look at every other aspect of the world right now.
Yeah.
People say they want change. Right. They get change. Like, oh, what are they doing?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what change is. This is what needs to get done if you want the change that you said you wanted. So
I have Imaginary on Blu-ray. Haven't watched it yet.
Hey, Annette, how you doing?
Hey, Annette. I would say
too,
go in
Rob.
with an open mind, because I thought that was a really well-made film.
Yes.
And it kind of yanks. I don't want to give away
Jack,
anything.
go watch it. Chauncey is waiting for you.
Yes, Chauncey is waiting for you, Jack. I liked it for what it was. And that's, it's at number 24. It's relatively low on my list, but I had fun with it. I watched it by myself, and then I watched it with you, and I still enjoyed it as much as I did the first time.
Yeah.
So likable characters, interesting dynamic, family dynamic, which it doesn't matter color. I just thought that the dynamic was odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah. So when you watch it, you'll understand what I mean. Yeah, I don't want to give anything away.
No.
I don't want to give it. Okay. I'll just leave it there. I like the film. I thought it was fun. And that's my number 24. So number 23, Joe?
Number 23, I Saw the TV Glow.
I get that.
Yeah, so like you were saying, I really like the whole nostalgia aspect of it. This is a very 90s movie. It's set in the 90s. It begins in the 90s, I should say. It's very 90s accurate, even down to like vending machines. There's like a Fruitopia machine, which was cool. The voting booths in the school and all that stuff. I love like how the TV show in the movie is like it's like a TV show within the movie that's like inspired by like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and like shows like that of the time. Really like that aspect. For me, it was just like a time capsule, like a 90s time capsule kind of movie. And the soundtrack was very fitting for it. It kind of gives you like almost like this feeling of like euphoria when you're watching it. Like the weird, strange music that plays in the background. It just makes you like teleport you back to the 90s. And like you said, I love like it captures something that we can all that's captured in all of us. Like we all identify with these two people who fall in love with this TV show, and that's how they form this bond.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really cool. So
yeah,
for me, I really liked it. I I don't necessarily love the allegory behind it, but I also appreciate that it wasn't thrown in our faces.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the director is very talented.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, as far as not only I appreciate that it was that the allegory wasn't done like that.
Yeah.
So because you can see it any way you want.
Yep, for sure.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for stopping by, bud. Have fun at work.
Oh, thank you, Horror in Texas. Thanks, man. Yeah. Number 23.
What do you got?
In a Violent Nature.
Okay.
I originally thought this was going to be a lot higher, and I really, really like this film, including the end. Joe and I have debated on this several times. And I appreciate his and I could tell when we were talking about it and debating about the end, he could appreciate my point of view and I appreciated his point of view. I get it. I like the end because it gives the whole movie. I don't want to give that away. Okay. I like the end. I'm just going to leave it there. I thought it was very original. It's a different take on a genre that I love, that we both love.
Yeah.
The kills were great. I can't wait to see, because I knew that this did well. I can't wait to see what they're going to come up with next. Because I do want to see more of this character.
Well, the next one is just 90 minutes of them sitting in the truck driving. The whole fucking movie is that.
That's not nice. Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. It was a fun movie. I've watched it a couple times since I've had it, and It'll probably end up being a go-to for me eventually.
Yeah, like when you need to sleep or something, you just put in that last
God
half hour.
damn.
In a silent nature.
Okay, number 22, Joe.
Blink twice.
Damn.
Blink twice is up next.
Oh, wow.
I wish I could put this higher, but because of the reasons that you mentioned,
yeah,
you I'm not even saying this lately. This movie had like masterpiece potential. It really did. It truly, truly did. But the director had to be self-indulgent, and I'm not trying to be insulting, but that's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
it's like
you're right.
It's horror has always been. Listen, horror's always had final girls and in girl power and this and that. But it's like these feminist directors now have to take it to like the next level, like to the next extreme. It's like we get it. Women can be badasses too. We get it. We know it. We're not denying it. We've seen it in horror genre for decades.
And I like that part of horror.
It's like, but this one, it was just like you have this really important storyline that should have been covered, and I'm glad that it was. But then instead of emphasizing the significance of it, it takes it to some place that it didn't need to go. And that's what's so frustrating. And at the same time, it's very hypocritical with the way the movie ends.
Yes.
So in the end, it's like you're destroying your own point. Are we supposed to be satisfied with the ending, or are we supposed to be like feeling like you're a hypocrite? Yeah, it leaves you kind of feeling almost unsatisfied in that way because you don't really know how you're supposed to feel about it at the end.
Actually, that's a perfect way to put it. Unsatisfied.
It is, and it's frustrating because there's so much about it that I loved. Like I said, there's a Shaka Khan song that plays in a very important part in the movie. Ain't Nobody Plays, and now I will forever associate that song with that movie. Because when sometimes it's like a song plays over like the perfect moment where you could always associate it with that. And that's how that movie is. So from now on, I'm always going to associate those two things.
Yep.
Oh, and there's so much that I liked about the movie. I liked the cast. You had Channing Tatum, you had Christian Slater, you had Gina Davis. You had a really important storyline that is going to be in public light very soon again. The real life storyline that is based on because of something that was just announced, which is really cool. So we're going to be getting a lot more of this, the real life version of it very, very soon. But it's this really important storyline that just gets taken in the wrong direction because the director could not limit herself.
Yeah.
It was one of those things again, got to put, my own agenda over the sake of the movie. And that's really frustrating when that happens.
Yep.
Jack, I wish I could. It's just, unfortunately, the end is what did it for me. What do you got?
Number 22. I have Long Legs.
Okay.
Wow. There's a lot to dissect in Long Legs for me. You and I watched it when we first got it. That was one of the ones that we watched almost right away. And I thought that it was interesting. And yeah, there we go again. I thought it was interesting. I liked a lot of parts of it. But for some reason, with the lead character, I felt very disconnected throughout the film. So what I did was, this was one of the ones that I had to watch twice to make sure that I had it in the right spot. And I remember telling you I liked it. I think I liked it a little bit more the second time, but not a whole lot.
Now, obviously, I have it higher than you. So when I get to it, I'll talk about it more. I think this is one you're gonna like more and more as you watch it. I think
I wanted to go down that rabbit hole so much, and I almost did. I almost did.
I mean, I'm glad you watched it a second time. I think the issue is you watched it right away a second time, because I think I would have felt the same way. Because me and you kind of felt the same way about it when we watched it together.
Yeah.
And we both wanted to watch it again, and then you ended up watching it again like the very next day.
I did.
I watched it again, 2 days ago for the second time, and I think the time in between helped me.
Really?
I think you were kind of still almost like in the same mindset, so it was like it wasn't going to improve all that much.
Yeah.
Because something you just said, the disconnect with the main character. That's the issue I had the first time. Honestly, the second time, I was just for some reason I was understanding it way more, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm really kind of digging her now, and
Really?
yes. So I have a feeling. Don't get me wrong.
I hope so.
I still think it's the second most overrated movie of the year. The first being Smile 2.
Yeah.
But I obviously have it longer than you. I agree with Rob. Long List has more positives than negatives. That's how I see
I
it
agree with that
as well.
I agree with that.
But again, I will talk about it a little bit more when I get to it.
I definitely think it has, and I mean, look at it this way: it's 22, so it's not at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's a lot I really liked about it. Yeah, I am going to watch it again eventually because it's a movie that I almost went down the rabbit hole the first time.
Yes, we both did. We were getting in that.
I was talking to you about it. I was like, wait a minute. I said, there's something going on here.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's one of the reasons why I watched it again the next day, because I started to go down that rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Nah. I mean, it's hard. He's another one that we were talking about before the stream. Nick Cage makes movies better. He does.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm hoping that I like it more when I watch it the next time. So, all right. What do you got for number 21?
I have Imaginary.
Ooh.
So
not big difference, but yeah.
The third act for me, absolutely love it.
So good.
Craig, again, if you're still here, I absolutely love that third act. I told Jason like a personal connection I have to that movie, oddly, which I won't go into here, but like that movie, when we were watching it, I was like, wow, this is crazy. That third act, I mean, the location of the third act is really what put it on a different level for me.
Yeah.
It almost reminded me of when I watched Pay the Ghost with Nicolas Cage. Like the third act of Pay the Ghost, where that movie goes for location.
Yes.
I was like, wow, that's kind of how I felt with Imaginary.
Yep.
It takes you to this place where you don't think it's going to go, and it's like, whoa.
They went there.
So, yeah, I had a lot of fun with Imaginary, but it's the third act that really put it over the edge for me. So
yeah, there's no doubt.
And that's, by the way, guys, it's another one we give a positive spin, which you'll be seeing eventually, because it's another one that was hated that came out last year.
Yeah, that was definitely hated. Along with my number 21, which is Night Swim. I really like Night Swim. Night Swim moved around a lot for me, but I really liked it. I liked the whole celebrity baseball player who was suffering from a pretty messed up disease. And when you're talking about, because if you weren't here earlier, Joe kind of compared this one, and I did too, to the Amityville Horror, except for you're being haunted by a house. In the Amityville Horror, in Night Swim, you're being haunted by water. Well, that sounds kind of stupid. If you watch the film and you get the explanation, then you kind of understand. What I think is very great about this film is that the Lutzes just picked up and left, right? Most people in their right mind will pick up and leave when they're being haunted. This movie made it extremely hard to do that. And I like that, because when you're dependent on certain things, it can affect your overall decision making.
Yep.
And I thought that was a very clever aspect of Night Swim.
Definitely.
One that you don't get in a lot of the other films.
Yep.
So, yeah, I really like Night Swim. I think it's a sleeper. And I don't mean to watch it and go to sleep. I mean that it's a sleeper. It's a better movie than a lot of people give it credit for. It's my opinion, though. So that's my number 21. What do you got for number 20, Joe?
Number 20, I have The First Omen.
we're very close.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite Omen movie.
Yeah.
It's my favorite movie in the franchise. I'm not a huge fan of the franchise. I like part 2. I like part 4 a lot, and The First Omen is my favorite of the bunch. Really like this movie. It's just a case of, again, the Omen franchise is not a franchise that I like to revisit all that often. So when I do revisit it, this would be the one that I'd probably watch, but I'm just not a huge fan of that franchise. So it's like being the best of the Omen movies is not like a huge accomplishment for me personally, but I do really like this movie. But we can talk about it more when you get to it. You said you're close.
Yeah, very close, actually. It's your number 20?
Yes.
It's my number 19. So, my number 20 is Subservience. This one moved around for me a lot.
That one dropped for you a lot, huh?
It did. It did. I really like this movie. I think it's sci-fi at its best. I think it's a more adult version of Megan, of course. And I think that the reasoning is more, the reasoning in the story is more plausible, because the situation, of course, you have just a little synopsis, not much, but you have a man whose wife is suffering from a heart condition, and he is the only breadwinner of the family at the moment because she is very sick. They have 2 small children, and what do? I mean, you can't quit your job or else you can't pay for the medical bills, which, I've been there. So it was kind of a little bit on a personal level for me. And then here you have this person who is supposed to help you around the house and does exactly that until it doesn't. And it looks like Megan Fox, of course.
Yeah.
But man, just such a fun movie. And it even went as far as, and one of the reasons why I liked it even more is because it went further. I think we're going to talk about that when you get to it, though, Joe. I want to leave that until you get to it, how it goes further. So, but yeah, that's my number 20. Subservience.
All right, why don't you do? You said number 19 is
The First Omen.
So why don't you go on with that now?
Okay. The First Omen is, again, my favorite Omen movie as well. I thought this was fantastic. We have basically 2 movies that are almost the same plot. This one and my number 18, which, of course, you as well. But man, this movie was so much fun, and it fixed a lot of the pacing problems in the Omen franchise for me. I liked the religious part in this. I liked the pregnancy aspect of it and everything it had to offer as far as the plot of the rest of the film. It was just a good idea. I think that a good idea that outshined the first 3 films in the remake. So, what do you think, Joe?
Well, my number 19 is Immaculate.
Yes.
Immaculate, this just had to go side by side with The First Omen because they're very similar in story.
Very similar.
I just have Immaculate right above it. This is also your next movie at number 18, correct?
It is. It is.
Yeah. So
I'll jump in with you when you're.
So Immaculate is pretty much similar storyline to The First Omen. This one stars Sydney Sweeney.
Yes.
We get a good look at her, which is always fun.
I
like it. I mean, it's it's a good, solid religious horror film, and I feel like it was overlooked because The First Omen got all the credit because it was part of the franchise, whereas Immaculate was its own thing. This one was. We also gave this one a controversial view. I don't think you guys have seen that one yet, but we did give that one a controversial view. There's a cool backstory to Immaculate, which was interesting. I just had a really good time with it. I think Sydney Sweeney did a great job in the lead. She really carried the film.
Yeah.
And what do you got to say about it? It's your number 18.
While I thought The First Omen was a little bit creepy, I thought that Immaculate was creepier.
Yes.
It was more of a solid. I believed it a little bit more than I did The First Omen, and I think if you're going to sell it to me and I believe it, it's going to get an edge over a movie that it's not that I don't believe The First Omen. It's just I believe Immaculate more.
I agree.
It was just
I agree.
Yeah, it was just it seemed a little bit more plausible, and it was its own thing. And the thing I find weird about that is that it's its own thing, and it was so much like The First Omen.
Yeah.
So, and plus, Immaculate to me was more mean-spirited. And that's something I like better in my horror. I like movies that are a little bit on the more mean-spirited side. So, The First Omen had its mean-spiritedness, but it was more calculated. I think that Immaculate, I felt more for Sydney Sweeney, for her character, than I did for the woman in The First Omen. So, yeah.
All right.
That was my 18. So what do you got for 18, Joe?
At number 18, I have Maxine. This is the third movie following X and Pearl. Yeah, this one kind of went back and forth too, but we're kind of getting into the territory now where I'm having a tough time like ranking things because
I got you.
Things are getting stronger. I love the 80s vibe of Maxine. You have the whole slasher aspect. I mean, this one is pretty much a straight slasher film. I think Maxine's character is probably her most likable in this one.
Yes.
Or at least I should say even Mia Goth in general. I like Mia Goth as Maxine more than I like her as Pearl and more than I like her as Maxine in X. So I do like her more in this one. I like the Hollywood setting. I mean, it literally takes us to the Hollywood Hills and behind the sign. I do like how it plays out. I wish there was something that wasn't given away early in the film. I think it would have been a bigger reveal if something didn't happen too early in the movie. And I said that the first time that I watched it, but I still really like it. I like that we get a video store location. We get the VHS tapes. I like the whole what's the movie called? The Pilgrim in it? The Pilgrim, is that what it's called? The Puritan 2. She's starring in. That's what it is. I think that's pretty cool. Like that, the Puritan slasher film. That's a fun aspect of it. Just had an overall good time with this movie. I like the soundtrack a lot. It's obviously fitting for the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite of the trilogy. I prefer Maxine to X and Pearl.
Me too. All right. Number 17.
Yes.
I have Cuckoo.
Okay.
I had a little bit of trouble in the beginning of this film. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say what it is, but I had a little bit of trouble. But as the movie went along, it kept winning me over because it was different. And I was eager to see what was going to end up happening with all this strange crap that was going on. And I'm going to be honest, I was not disappointed in the end. I thought the end was cuckoo. See what I did there?
No, we missed
it. Whoo! I did not expect that ending. you're putting things together when the end comes up. And I just thought it was handled in a very interesting way. I really liked it. And it's completely and utterly original for a horror film.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I really enjoyed it. And I'm glad I didn't hear about what happened today, or else I might have moved it down too. And I'll leave it at that. It ended up being at number 17, and I'm okay with that. Because I can't take it back tomorrow. Nope. So, what do you got for number 17, Joe?
Number 17, I have Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2.
Woo! Okay, I have that next, so we can piggyback or whatever.
So you have it at 16?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I had this higher, kind of moved up and down a little bit. It's just an overall fun slasher movie. I do prefer it to the original. In fact, when I watched it again the second time with you, because I had watched it before, and then you watched it for the first time with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, this is even better than I remembered it being.
Yes.
So I feel like it's gonna be one of those movies where next time I watch it, I'm gonna be like, I probably should have had it higher.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where, for some reason, right now, this is kind of where it landed.
Yeah.
But I'm confident that next time I watch it, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I probably should have had it a few spots higher.
Yeah.
Because it's really well done. I really like what they did with the Christopher Robin story.
Yes.
I like how they took his story in a different direction. I love the look of the characters in this one. I like how they added Tigger and also Owl. I think Owl is so creepy looking. I think Tigger is awesome. I love the massacre at the end at the party.
Yes.
And there's some really good stuff in this. Yeah. So it's number 17 for me and number 16 for you.
Yeah. Like I have Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 at number 16. And for all the reasons that Joe just said, and I like the meta aspect of the first one being a movie based on Christopher Robin's life. I was like, it was almost like a big fuck you to everyone who shit on the first one.
Yep.
And I'm right there along with everyone else for the joke that liked it. I know Jack really enjoyed the first one. I know he enjoyed the second one as well. I know Brad liked both of them. And I'm going to go out I'm going to be a gatekeeper and say that if you don't like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, you're probably not a fan of slasher movies. So there you go.
It's kind of odd. Exactly. I mean, what else do you want in a slasher film?
Yeah. And it actually, both of them are just fun slasher movies.
Yeah, I love the first one when I saw it.
Yeah,
loved
me too.
I still do.
And even
but I like how the second one
movie.
I like how the second one fixes the issues that other people have with the first one.
Yes. It was just like they just went, meh.
Yep.
I love it. Love it. All right. What do you got for number 16, Joe?
This is where I have Subservience.
Oh, okay.
I had to settle
on
it
too
here.
Much different.
Yeah, I had to settle on here. I was going back and forth with this.
Yeah.
I really liked Subservience. I watched this one a few times, just like you have.
Me too.
I love the snowy setting, first of all.
Yes.
That's a part of me. That movie just feels cold.
Yes.
Megan Fox, I think she's great in this. I think she was fantastic in Jennifer's Body. I think she's fantastic in this. She literally looks like an AI, robot. I mean, she does. She looks like a droid. It's like they didn't even have to do anything. Like they didn't have to put any makeup on. They didn't have to make her look like one. It's like But I mean that as a compliment to her because she acts the part very well.
Yes, she does.
The way she delivers her lines and stuff like that.
She's got chops. I'm telling you, she's got chops.
It's one of those movies that reminds me of Dario Argento's Jennifer. You're watching it. You're watching it and you're thinking, I probably would too.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what happens in the film. You're watching everything that goes wrong, but you're still thinking to yourself, yeah, if I had the chance, I'd probably buy one too. I mean, you just would.
Yep.
You would.
Yep.
I also want to say, I prefer this to Megan. I know Megan got all the craze.
Me too.
I know we're getting a Megan 2.0 this year.
Yep.
I liked Megan. I had fun with it. That's a 2022 horror movie, so we're not obviously ranking it here. But I had a lot of fun with Megan. I personally think Subservience is better.
Me too.
I think it's executed better. I think it's more for an adult audience, obviously.
Yep.
Megan was a little too teen
Tween.
horror. Yeah,
Tween. Yeah.
exactly. Whereas Subservience is more of an adult AI horror film.
Yep. Just like Rob said,
I
everyone
really
will
enjoy
want
it. This was
her.
another one that when it came out, people were like, "Oh, Megan Fox and this and that." I watched it as soon as it became available, and I was like, "Wow!" I remember telling you, I was like, "I
Yeah.
really, really liked Subservience."
Yep.
Um, yeah, I
It was
even did
just a
like
good story. I mean,
I did a
yeah. I
short review
mean,
of it at
look,
the time.
Megan Fox is gorgeous, right? And just like Rob said, anyone would want to.
Yeah.
But you also have that part in the story about the family too, and
Hmm.
you actually feel for the dad. So
Absolutely.
it's not as cut and dry, and I
It's
think
not.
people are going to enjoy our controversial view for this one. I hope you do anyway, because I think Joe and I both bring out a good point about the film.
Well, it already happened. They already saw it. That already came
Did
out.
it?
Yes.
Did it do well?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember. Damn.
But yeah, we've already done a controversial view for that one, so that's already up.
Damn. Okay, well, go back and watch it. If maybe I have to go back and watch it too, but yeah. Damn.
We raise a very important question in that controversial
I
view.
think so too. And I was yeah, now I remember because I remember a couple of people commented on it. Yeah. Yeah.
Jack, I like Megan. I just it's a little
I
too
like it
silly.
too.
It's a little too silly. It's fun. I've watched it a bunch of times. I
Yeah.
just think it's silly in places where it doesn't need to be. Like the dance drives me crazy. I think it's a
And of course, everybody loved it, so that's what they're highlighting in the commercial.
yeah, silly decision.
Subservience. We did that for controversial view
Yeah,
already.
Rob. She's also in a few other things like Mr. Nanny and in The Nanny. She was the little girl in The Nanny, the TV show. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to Megan 2.0.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to see it. I just prefer Subservience.
I do too.
I mean, I even prefer the Child's Play remake to Megan.
So do I.
So
Subservience and Child's Play is a little tougher.
they're close. They are. They're close though. They're closer than they probably should be. I really did enjoy Subservience.
I did too. All right. Well, since I botched that one,
what do you got?
My number 15. I know you're gonna be a little disappointed, but my number 15 is Nosferatu. Why y'all laughing at me?
I just want to point out and listen, we're the first people to say IMDb ratings don't matter.
Yeah.
But Nosferatu is like the first or second highest rated of the year.
Hey, look, I'm gonna get into it now. I think the movie is fucking beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also number 15, so it's more than halfway up in my ranking. And I actually did have it at number 8 at one time. So, okay. It's a beautiful movie. It's done really well. I thought Bill Skarsgård was absolutely phenomenal in the role. I love the special effects. I like the setting. I like the way it's shot. Robert Eggers is brilliant, but it's really, really too long. That's the thing for me. It's incredibly long.
All the movies are, though.
Yeah, but The Witch and Lighthouse didn't bother me like that.
Lighthouse, I think, bothered me more.
Yeah, not me. I love The Lighthouse.
Pacing
I thought
wise,
it was so good.
I like it. I mean, I like all the movies. I'm just saying, pacing in The Lighthouse, I think, was worse than Nosferatu.
And I'm just not a big vampire fan. I don't know.
No, neither.
Because when it comes right down to it, it's a vampire movie.
Yeah.
I liked his look. I like what they did with it. And I was really looking forward to this movie. And I really had trouble staying awake. So, yeah. Nosferatu at 15. It's a beautifully made film. It really is. And I'm not sure if 3 minutes is going to make a difference when you watch the theatrical version. So, yeah. 15. What do you got for
15?
You're at 14 or
Nope.
15?
I'm at 15.
Okay.
15, I have Long Legs.
Wow, that moved up for you.
It did.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I watched it again. I watched it again the other day. And well, yesterday I think I watched it again. I watched it again yesterday just to be sure because I was like, am I missing something with this? Like I liked it, but I had it kind of low. And I'm glad I did because it kind of hit me differently. Like I said, I connected more with the character.
Yeah.
I appreciated the story a lot more too.
Yeah.
And I think Nicolas Cage did a fucking phenomenal job. I mean,
I think he did
he
too.
was scary. He's a scary dude in
Yeah.
this movie.
He's a
Like he is
creep.
a creepy killer. The way he looks, the way he talks, everything about him is creepy. His motivation for it all, I really, really liked it. I love the location. It very much reminded me, which is funny because she plays in this too. It very much reminded me of It Follows, that Canadian like fall kind of location. It's
Yeah.
like fall into winter,
Yeah.
you
It
know.
does.
So yeah, really, really liked it a lot more upon a rewatch. I do think it's a little overrated because people were like going crazy about it when it came out.
Well, it's
But
also a little bit different too.
it is different. It
Yeah.
is. Um,
So, yeah.
I like how it ends too a lot more than I did the first time.
Hmm.
When it ended yesterday, I was like, damn, you know what? That's pretty damn good. The way that it ends.
I remember, and I remember it being, I was like, damn. Yeah. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there is a really good twist in this movie.
So yeah, Long Legs at 15.
Yeah.
What
I
do you
get it.
got for 14?
14, I have Speak No Evil.
Me too.
Damn. Okay. This is another one my wife wanted to see along with Blink Twice. These were the two she wanted to see. And she's not really into horror. So we just went out and got Speak No Evil, where we went to Blink Twice. I really like this movie. I think it's fun. It's not something that hasn't been done before because it has, but you get so invested not only in
Well, it literally has because it's a remake.
yeah, well, no, I mean the whole
Yeah, no, I know.
concept has
I
been done
know.
before. And I've been on vacation where you get close to other couples and you have something in common
We
where
don't want to hear your swingers stories.
yeah,
This
yeah,
isn't
yeah.
what
So where you either come from the same place or you have something in common and but nothing ever comes of it from that. And if you've ever wanted to know what comes from that,
Mhm.
you watch Speak No Evil because this movie turns, and when it turns, it is something to watch. It really is. James McAvoy is freaking great in this
Yeah, I was
movie.
gonna say he's fantastic.
He is just, um, yeah. The whole cast is really good. There's, I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
No, I agree with everything you said.
Yeah,
James McAvoy was fantastic. I like the
yeah,
concept a lot. Um a huge positive for me is any movie that features not that she's in the movie, but one of my favorite songs from her. You have Susanna Hoffs with Eternal
yeah.
Flame being
Oh
used
yeah,
in the
yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
And Eternal Flame is a very significant inclusion in the movie. It's a song that's heard multiple times throughout the film,
Yep.
and then again over the end credits for
Oh yeah,
very good reason. And that alone bumps it up for me because big fan of Susanna Hoffs. But
yeah.
I will say on the negative side, I don't know if you felt the same way. The wife kind of pissed me off. She kind of annoyed me in this movie.
Which
Um,
one?
the one who you're supposed to be rooting for. I actually I
Yes,
actually
yeah.
liked McAvoy's wife more than the fucking good wife.
So did I. So did
I
I.
she was just I mean, it's not a big spoiler because this is like when you watch the movie you find this out early on. So the main couple, they're going through some marital issues and the wife basically was cheating on the husband. I mean, through text, sexting, that kind of thing was,
Yeah,
meeting up. We don't know the extent of it, but it was enough where it was cheating. I mean, any you send in dick pics to my wife, I'm considering it cheating.
Yeah, more or less.
So there was that element of it that I felt a little about when I was watching it, but then as the movie went on, I was just so invested in everything else that I was okay with it.
It is a good dynamic though, because look, I'm just going to put it on the table. I don't care. With the whole cheating thing, one of the things that the wife was constantly pissed off about is that he did not speak up. He had no backbone, and that's what she said. Now, I didn't feel that way about him.
Yeah.
I thought he had some backbone. She was just magnifying it times 1,000. That was my opinion.
I agree. He's a realist. He was a decent guy.
Yes.
Like he wasn't looking for conflict if he didn't need it.
Right.
She seemed to crave more.
Yes.
Which kind of frustrated me.
Different kind of guy.
She had like this stable good guy, but it's like she wanted more excitement and stuff like that. And it's like I get it, and I get that there are people that are like that on both sides.
Right.
But it is kind of frustrating where it's like, come on, like she was taking her husband for granted.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, she went too far, obviously, with this other dude. And right off the bat, that kind of pissed me off because I don't like that.
Yeah, kind of I don't like that either. And I will say that there are parts in this movie that genuinely made me feel uncomfortable.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
When you start getting the kids involved, because there are kids in both.
Yeah.
It genuinely makes me uncomfortable. And I think the movie excels in what it tries to do.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I wanted to see the original. You told me that the original people didn't like it that much.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of curious, but yeah, I really like this movie. Speak No Evil was a big surprise for me.
So my mom watched both. My mom watched Speak No Evil a few times. This one, the American version.
Yeah,
she loved it. She watched the original.
Yeah.
Maybe last week, and she did not like the ending.
Oh, okay. I okay.
So
I get it. Now I'm curious. I think we should watch it one time.
It's what you think it is. Just
yeah. I got you.
Yeah, she really was not happy with it because she loved the American remake. Yeah. And for anybody, I mean, people in the chat don't know much about my mom. She's a huge movie fan, huge horror fan.
Yeah.
She has no problem with subtitles and watching original foreign films, stuff like that. So it wasn't anything to do with that at all, like preferring the American version over the original. She just really didn't like what the original did with the ending.
Yeah. I get it. I get it now. I think I'll pass on that one then.
Yeah.
Because there's really no point.
No, there isn't. That's exactly kind of what she said. Yeah. She said she got invested for what? Like she felt like she was ripped off.
Yeah.
There was no big thing at the end.
See, that's what I like. Like when we talk about The Vanishing, how the American one ruined it.
Mm-hmm.
What was so poignant in the original.
Yeah.
And then this one just flipped it over.
Mm-hmm.
They saw the mistake and they fixed it.
Yep.
I like that. So all right. 13?
Yeah, what do you got?
Alien Romulus.
Hey, me too. Again, another one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now I saw Romulus in the theaters and I loved it. It was almost a return. Well, no, I'm not going to say almost. It was a big time return to an Alien series that I love. Parts of. But to me it felt like a real Alien film. There's a couple things that happened in the film that I thought were brilliant that I'm surprised haven't been used in other films, and I'm glad they took advantage of it. The ending I thought was great. Other people hated it. And I did watch it a second time, and I liked it as much the second time. My one fault with the film is that it's very long, but most of the Alien films are long.
Exactly.
So you get what you get when you watch an Alien film. So what about you, Joe?
I have Alien Romulus here because honestly, it's one of my favorite in the franchise.
Mine too.
I really liked it. I love what they do with the like the alien blood. How it's like traveling
Yes.
and
Oh,
so cool. How it's
yes.
like floating through the air. So it's like an
Yes.
extra threat as like they're already trying to avoid the aliens, but now they have to try to
I'm
avoid that as
surprised
well.
no one else did that.
I
That's
know.
exactly what I was talking about. Why
Yeah.
didn't anyone else think to do that?
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's just brilliant.
I like the characters. I like how this
Yep.
one ties into the original.
Yep.
I think this one also, despite being long, I honestly feel this is the fastest paced movie in the Alien franchise.
I agree.
It's really, really well paced.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved Romulus.
It's fun. It's fun.
I'm excited now. We're supposed to get 2 more Alien movies to follow. So
Yes, the floating acid. God, I
Yep.
loved it. Why didn't the other movies think to do that?
It's great. Such a smart
And in a
move.
way, I'm glad they didn't, because
Makes
now
this
we're
one stand
seeing it
out.
and we're like, wow,
Yep.
that's just so freaking cool. Yeah. Very, very impressive.
What do you got at number 12?
Number 12, I have the last movie we watched, or the last movie I watched, or the last movie we watched, The Substance.
Okay. Well, we
Um,
watched it. We originally watched it before this, then we watched it again.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it again because I didn't forget what happened. I just wanted to make sure, because I had it pretty low. You
Yes,
saw
you
I had it pretty low.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like it belonged there.
No.
So I watched The Substance again, and I can see why it's up for an Oscar for Demi Moore, and I'm glad.
And it's also for Best Picture.
Are you kidding me?
It's nominated for Best Picture. Yes.
Oh my God.
Best
Yeah.
Screenplay, Best Director, Best Picture, Best Actress, and Best something else.
Wow.
But Best Picture, it's nominated for Best Picture Oscar.
Can you imagine if that wins?
The Substance, by the way, is the highest rated movie of 2024.
Yes.
Horror movie of 2024.
I loved The Substance. I thought it's not like this hasn't happened before, and it almost seems like it was like a Twilight Zone episode at one time or another. But what they did with that Twilight Zone episode didn't feel like a Twilight Zone episode. It felt like a full-blown film that was just, it's so good. First of all, you have great nudity.
No.
Great nudity in it. You have great effects. Probably one of the best I've seen in a long time. And this really, and I was talking to Joe about it when we watched it the second time and probably the first time. This really reminds me of a David Cronenberg film.
Yeah, actually, you know what? It actually reminds me of a Brandon Cronenberg film. I can picture him directing The Substance.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Maybe because of Infinity Pool. Like I feel like for some reason
Yeah, I can see that. And I really like Brandon Cronenberg as well.
Exactly, Jack. The Rejuvenator Part 2.
Yeah, exactly. I love the Rejuvenator. I think it's fun.
I agree, Rob. The effects were raw and real.
Oh God, they're so good. I'm actually kind of surprised that it's nominated for Best Picture, and I'll tell you why. It's not that it's not a great picture. It's just that they kind of overdid it in a few parts, and this is what I think people would be turned off about.
Yeah,
like the whole blood thing at the end.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I exactly. That's what we love, but the mainstream, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm glad it is though. What the hell? Can you imagine if it wins? Wow. Okay, yeah, I love The Substance. It's really good. I wasn't sure if I put it in the right spot, but there is a problem with the runtime. It's a little too long, but it is paced rather well.
It's the longest movie on the list.
It is. And then, of course, that was the one that I wanted to watch a second time. So, what do you got for number 12, Joe?
Number 12, I have, and I wish I could put this higher, A Quiet Place Day One.
Wow.
I mean, I loved it. I love all of the Quiet Place movies, clearly. Like, all three of these movies are like masterpieces to me. I friggin' love them. I mean, I was just blown away by it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah. Again, we're just looking at a point here where it's like, which movies am I going to watch more here? So I'm looking at these, and it's like, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm looking at it too. When I have a hard time ranking movies in rankings like this, I got to look at like almost like from the outside looking in. So then I look at like A Quiet Place as a trilogy, and I'm like, where do I rank it amongst the 3 films? And honestly, as much as I love it, it would probably be my last place in the A Quiet Place trilogy. Even though I love all 3 and I love Day One, I'm going to put the other 2 above this one. So that, in my warped mind, plays a role when I'm trying to figure out a place to rank these movies that I'm having a hard time ranking.
I can see that.
You know?
I think it would be my 3rd place. But there's not a big difference in...
No, they're all very close.
Oh my God.
It's just it would have to be 3rd place for me because I just like the other 2 just slightly more.
Yeah. I definitely get it.
I loved the cat though. Love that cat. That cat was awesome.
Hell yeah.
Man, I loved Day One. I really did. I like I said, I wish I could rank this one higher.
That's why I put it where
I loved it.
When I get to it, you guys, I really...
Jack said he did not like it at all. I'm surprised. That's a fantastic film.
Well, let me ask you a question, Jack. Did you like the first 2?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can see if you didn't like the first 2, not
really exactly
enjoying the 3rd one. But all right, my number 11 is Abigail. Another one that was higher, but it had to move down because we watched some really good movies this year.
This is my number 11 too, by the way. So
is it really?
Yes.
Okay. Abigail. I am not a big fan of vampire movies. Everyone who knows me knows that. And I think people know to a certain degree that Joe's not really huge into vampires either. This movie was just fun. I had so much fun with this film. I didn't even care that it was a vampire film because I love the cast. I love the characters. I laughed out loud. I don't know how many times. It
doesn't feel like a vampire movie. That's why it is one. But listen, this was made by Radio Silence, who also made Scream 5, Scream 6, and Ready or Not. So you have these guys. I mean, it feels like a slasher movie.
They're killing it. They are. They're killing it.
I mean, it really follows it follows a slasher formula.
It does,
especially when the characters start getting picked off, because at first you don't really know what's happening. The way they're being killed, it's just, you know, the way the bodies are being found and stuff, it feels like it's a slasher. And then it turns out to be something else. Now, for those of you who don't know, Abigail is a loose remake of Dracula's Daughter. That was the original title of the film. Yeah, that was the original title of the film, too.
Yeah.
It also stars Melissa Barrera, who plays Sam in Scream 5 and Scream 6.
Yes.
She's the star of this one. So, and also Dan Stevens, who played in like 3 movies that we watched in the year.
Yes.
Because he played in Cuckoo, he played in this, and then he played in Godzilla Kong. But
yes.
Yeah, he was in this as well. He was great in Abigail. I thought he's probably my favorite character in the movie.
I don't know, man. I love the dumb guy, the gangster guy. He made me laugh so hard.
Oh, he was funny too, yeah.
Oh my God.
Dan Stevens, he was great. He was awesome.
Yeah, he was good. He was great in it too. That movie is just so damn good. It's almost like a movie that it had no business being as good as it was.
Jack said he liked the first 2 A Quiet Place movies, but hated Day One. Huh.
Wow.
Just not calculating for me. But
well, it was a different setting. It was a different.
I find it fascinating. I don't mean in like a bad way. It's just I feel like those movies are so close for me because I feel like they're so similar. Yeah. And like, you know what I mean? Like, other than the different setting.
Well, there is a different setting, and you also have different lead characters. Somebody might not have liked or some people may not have liked the dynamic with the lead characters.
What are you accusing Jack of?
No. And I'll get to this more when we get to it with my list, but the lead character was not very likable in the beginning, and maybe rightfully so.
I think it
also comes across as a certain way to the people who are watching it.
I think I get it though because of my background, my career. Like, I mean, these are the type of people that I worked with for 20 years.
So. I was one of those type of people, so I get it. I understand completely.
And honestly, that's why I liked her character, because everything that she goes through, like you and I talked about while we were watching it, I was so impressed with like this woman, I mean, again, it's not a spoiler, it's like immediate in the film. She's literally on hospice care because she is dying, but yet spends the whole movie fighting for her life.
Yep.
It's just amazing to watch. It's like an inspiring character, if anything, for me. So
I got a little choked up at the end. I really did.
Yes.
Because I understand you can't turn it off.
All three of those movies have choked me up. The Quiet Place movies.
Yes. Yeah. Especially when he saves his daughter by
the first movie. That's one of the. I think that's one of the saddest horror movies ever.
It's so powerful. It is so powerful.
And the way he screams. Oh my god.
Yep.
And he's such a likable character too.
Yeah.
Dude's a freaking hero.
Yeah. All right. Because we're going to get to that in a little bit, but
so we are into the top 10.
Top 10.
What do you got?
My top 10, or my number 10 in my top 10, is Maxine.
Okay.
I really like this film. I think the effect that I saw the TV Glow had on you, because of the 90s, and yes, I lived through the 90s as well. I lived through the Stone Age and therefore everything else. But this 80s nostalgia that was in Maxine really got to me.
Remember, I had I didn't have Maxine far from I saw the TV Glow. So I mean, I get the same thing. I mean, I love the nostalgia in both.
Oh, it just got to me though. I literally, and I haven't watched it since we watched it. Mm-hmm. I should have. I didn't. But I wanted to watch it right after we finished watching it again. I just liked it so much. I love the killer aspect of it. For how much I didn't, and this is going to go for my next film as well, for how much I didn't like Pearl and X. Well, I liked X, but how much I didn't like Pearl is how much I liked Maxine. I thought it's the best of the trilogy, in my opinion. It's a slasher movie, and I love it, and I will be returning to that one quite a bit. What's your number 10, Joe?
My number 10 is another movie, a movie just like you with Maxine. It's the most recent movie in a franchise that I actually prefer to the rest of them. And that is Terrifier 3.
Oof, okay.
Terrifier 3, I have it, number 10. Now, I like All Hallows Eve.
Yes.
Really liked Terrifier.
Yes.
Loved certain aspects of Terrifier 2, but for the most part, my negatives sort of outweighed my positives for Terrifier 2.
I get it.
Terrifier 3, though, is on like another level. Terrifier 3 is my favorite Art the Clown movie.
Yep.
I think this is how it should have been done, like, all along. I feel like it's the perfect hybrid of Terrifier and Terrifier 2.
Yes.
And I feel like now it's sort of reached its stride. Like, this is how he needs to continue it into the next film. Because
maybe not as long, but okay.
No, but I feel like even still, it did not feel as long as it is. This was paced much better than Terrifier 2.
100%.
And it was not convoluted like Terrifier 2 was.
100%.
It still had great locations. It's one of the most festive Christmas slasher movies ever made.
Yes.
Like, the Christmas setting is phenomenal. Absolutely loved it. I still think Sienna is one of the greatest modern day final girls now.
She's badass, dude.
Absolutely love her.
Badass.
I love that there is a major kill in this movie that comes out of nowhere, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, they make a bold choice with that.
I think so too.
The kills, obviously, great. I laughed out loud at certain scenes, like when the kid opens the box in the mall, he's like, I wonder what I got. And the whole place blows up.
Fucking mean spirit is.
That made me laugh so hard every time I watched it.
Yeah,
it's
so mean-spirited.
Loved Terrifier 3.
Yes.
Such a fun movie. Yeah, it's number 10 for me. What do you got at number 9?
Number 9, I have Terrifier 3.
There you go.
I was not a big fan of the second one. I saw the second one in the theaters when it came out, when it had a 2-day thing, and I fell asleep in it. I did not like it that much. I thought it was too convoluted. I thought they tried to do too many things.
Yeah.
I understood why, but I just thought it was way too long.
Rob said 3 is his favorite too.
Yeah, it's my favorite as well. Like, I love All Hallows Eve. I think that guy did a great job.
I do too.
I think he was great. I love Terrifier. I thought Terrifier was fantastic.
Mhm.
Just watched it again recently. And I am starting to warm up to Terrifier 2 as a whole.
Because of
I
Terrifier
look
3.
at it as a bridge film between Terrifier and Terrifier 3.
Yep.
It's still the
Terrifier
long
2
time and the pacing just kills me with Terrifier 2.
Terrifier 2 is The Last Jedi.
Yes. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
It is. I mean, it is.
But I had a blast with Terrifier 3. I was supposed to see it in the theaters. My car broke down, so I had to wait until it came out. And I was so surprised of how good it was. It's fantastic. I wish I could have put it higher, and it used to be higher. We just happened to see a really bunch of fantastic movies.
I had it a little higher too, but then something happened and I had to move it down.
Yeah. Terrifier 3 is great. I like Art the Clown. I think they should make, like you said, I think they're hitting their stride now, and they should make more films like this. And yeah, I really liked it.
Then the next
as much as I bitched about part 2 is how much I love part 3.
I want Art dressed as the Easter Bunny in the next movie, or I'm not.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, Terrifier 2 is Terrifier 3 is great. It really is. Yeah. All right, what do you got for I don't even know where we are.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9, I have The Substance.
Nice.
Yeah. I knew this had to go high. Honestly, it would be higher if it wasn't for the long run time.
Yeah.
Despite being
I felt.
Despite being 2 hours and 21 minutes, I think it's paced really well. It doesn't feel anywhere near that, but it is long. So when you watch it, you have to basically, you have to give a lot of time to watch it once. I mean, many times Jason and I will watch 2 movies back to back or whatever at night. When we're watching a movie like The Substance, we're only watching one because it kind of takes a lot of time and dedication. But yeah, I really love The Substance. I mean, when the first time I watched it, I was blown away by it. I remember telling Jason I couldn't wait for him to see it. We watched it together the first time, then we watched it again. Yesterday, just last night again. It really is. It's so good.
I had it as number 21, and it moved up to number 12.
You have, like Jason said, there's amazing nudity. You have 60-year-old Demi Moore for Jason. You have young Margaret Qualley for me.
Yeah. I'm okay with that, actually. I'm actually all right with that.
You get full frontal from both of them. You get the full package all around. But no, I mean, I love the storyline. It's so grotesque at times. It's scary at times. I mean, there's a creepiness to it. It's disturbing, and it's very gratuitous in so many ways. It's gratuitous in the nudity. It's gratuitous in the gore. It's gratuitous in sexual dancing, and it's gratuitous in every way.
Yep.
And I appreciate that because that's what the movie is supposed to be about. I mean, even that scene of Dennis Quaid when he's eating, it's so gratuitous.
Yes, his whole character is gratuitous.
Yep. It's like that close up, it zooms in on his face every time he talks, every time he does anything.
And that smile that he has now. Oh my God, it's just creepy.
I loved it, Verge. I loved that final mutation. I thought it was great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What do you got at number 8?
Number 8. This moved a couple times and I moved it right back. I have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Okay.
I am not as big of a Ghostbusters fan as you are. Yeah. However, I am more of a Ghostbusters fan now than I was when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess I was late to the party to really enjoy the horror and the humor. And I actually think that they did this film really well. It's just so good. It's so good. There's so many memories. When they did Afterlife, that's the way you do a requel. In this movie, this is how you do a sequel to a requel.
Yeah. After Ghostbusters Afterlife That was my favorite movie of 2021 when it came out. Anyway, I believe that was the year. That was my favorite movie of that year. That may be my favorite like requel like ever. I think that's exactly how you do a requel. Like that's how you do it.
And I like Afterlife more than Frozen Empire.
Oh, me too. I mean, Afterlife is my favorite. Like I said, it's like that's my favorite Ghostbusters movie too. I love so Afterlife.
Good. It got the feels and all going for a movie that I'm not as big of a fan as you, and I'm like sitting here like, so yeah, I love that movie. It's good, and it's number 8 for a person who's not really a diehard Ghostbusters fan, which is really weird for me. What do you got for number 8?
Number 8, I have a movie that was at one point was number 1 because it was before I watched other movies that went above it. But it was a movie that I thought was going to be a little bit higher, but unfortunately, we're getting to the nitty gritty here, and that
Don't
is
do it. Don't do
Trap.
it. Oh, okay. All right. You can do that.
Trap.
You can do that.
Did you see our private chat, by the way?
Oh. Yeah, Afterlife.
No, our private chat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I have Trap at number 8. M. Night Shyamalan. I know everybody gives him a crap. We love M. Night Shyamalan movies.
Yeah, we do.
I don't think I'll ever stop loving M. Night Shyamalan movies. I'll never understand the hate. People need to get over it because it's kind of frustrating. Truthfully, it's like enough now. You're not cool. Like everybody says it. Like it's like this trend to not like M. Night Shyamalan. Like just stop watching his movies then. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
But Trap, I thought was a blast. I love the setting. I mean, you had the setting in the arena. You know how many times I grew up going to concerts and like live wrestling events and stuff like that?
Yep.
I love it. I love that setting, that arena setting. The way he's just walking around, everything he does in this movie. I thought Josh Hartnett did such a great job. It was such an awesome return to horror for him.
Yep.
I thought M. Night Shyamalan's daughter did a great job. I'm glad she was in it. People were like, "Oh, nepotism! You just wanted to put his daughter in the." Who cares?
You know what? His daughter can sing. So
she can. She's good looking too. She has a good presence. She acted well. Why do people get so frustrated with that stuff? Like, get over it. People have done this for years.
Yep.
It's my God. It's so frustrating. It's so tired of hearing. But I just had a lot of fun with Trap. I love the way the story plays out. I think it's a great storyline.
I agree.
I remember seeing the preview and thinking, okay, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And it did not let me down. Like it really didn't. Like I went in with high expectations, and it exceeded them. I enjoyed it way more than I even thought I would.
Yeah, Annette likes it too. She doesn't get the hate for this one.
I don't either. I don't get it.
It's so much fun. It's so clever. It's extremely well written. You can go right down the line. I mean, it's very suspenseful. And when he starts to go off the rails at the end, it's actually quite creepy.
It's wild, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so and for me, seeing the well, I'll get to it. I'll get to it later.
For me, the thing is too with it is that you're rooting for him the entire time.
Yes, like, you are.
You're like, oh my God, don't get caught. Don't go through that door. Don't do that. Don't let him see it. Like, and that's I mean, that to me is like the sign of like a great performance.
Yes. Yep.
I don't know. I mean, we have movies on this list. Like again, like I don't mean to keep ripping it, but like movie like Smile 2, where people rant and rave about it. Oh, Smile 2 is amazing. It's great. It's one of the best movies of the year. I can't stand the main character.
No,
even though you're supposed to root for her. Meanwhile, in Trap, it has us rooting for the villain. He's such a likable character, even though we're not technically supposed to be rooting for him. So,
yeah, my wife liked that one too.
I thought it was great. So
yeah, Jack liked it.
Again, I wish I could rank it higher, but
blew away his expectations. Mine too.
Number 8.
I thought it was really going to be good, and then it kind of went further.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. All right.
What do you got at
number 7? I have A Quiet Place Day 1.
Okay.
This movie really, it got to me. And I remember we were talking about a lot of the stuff with the main character and how she was kind of real nasty at first. But then, you learn that she's in hospice, cancer, terminal.
Yeah.
And the stuff that she opens up about towards the end is it's brilliant. It is. It's written so well. And the fact, I remember you saying that, she's fighting harder than most people. And you just don't turn it off. It's so weird what you go through.
It's like practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She knows how to survive, and that's been her hit. It's survival has been her business, and I get it because she is more equipped to deal with this than most people.
Yeah,
she just doesn't have the faculty anymore, but she has the willpower.
Yep.
And it's just a beautiful film. So good. And yeah. What do you got for number 7?
Number 7 is one of the scariest movies on the list, and that is Oddity.
Yep.
Yeah, this is another one that blew me away. I mean,
yeah,
we went into this one knowing that it was one of the scariest movies of the year based on certain things, certain research we have done. Not going to get into that, but many times we watch a movie that's people say, "Oh, this is one of the scariest movies of the year," and we watch it and we're like, "Eh." There's very few that we watch and we're like, "Okay, I can understand why people are saying this is one of the scariest," and this is one of them because the setting, the atmosphere, immediately from the opening scene, you're in. And you're like, "Okay, I can see why people are unsettled by this."
Isolation.
And then there are creepy things that happen in this movie. There are creepy images.
Yep.
There's some scary stuff in this movie. And I agree on that.
Yeah.
The opening was just so tense. I really, really loved this movie.
It blew me away.
Really fantastic. Oddity is one I know I'm going to be revisiting pretty often. This is one that I can't wait to rewatch with my wife. I can't wait to rewatch it with my son. It's like one of those movies that I want to introduce people to.
I am really curious of what he's going to think about it.
Yeah.
Because I was, yeah.
Well, that's number 7 for me. So
it's my number 6.
Okay, I had a feeling the way you would.
Yeah. So, wow. I was ready to say that this movie was going to be overrated.
Nope.
It was on Shudder. And it's not that I think that just because it's on Shudder. I've liked a lot of the Shudder movies, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But when I started hearing about this is the scariest movie of the year, I just I don't get an attitude, but I'm just like, here, it's probably going to be a bunch of people who watch some mainstream horror and, got frightened by this one. I'm going to tell you, I actually thought this was kind of creepy in some spots. And, there were a few things that happened. I was like, what the heck is going on?
Yep.
I love the story. I love the sense of isolation. And I was just waiting for the next shoe to drop. The whole movie, I was just waiting for it. And I was not disappointed when it did. So, yeah, that's what I have at number 6.
I feel like it's one of those movies, like if you watch it in the right atmosphere, it's going to hit.
I don't think it's going to matter.
Well, like Jack said, it did nothing for him at all, but people like different movies. And that's the case. I know that's the case.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's one of those movies, like turn the lights off, put this thing on, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those movies that just gets in.
The Fear 3.
Right? Pretty much.
That's what we said, The Fear 3. Yeah, I really liked it. I really liked it. Big surprise for me.
That's pretty much what it is, though. I mean, it's like if someone likes The Fear and the Fear 2. I mean, it's very close. I mean, I think it's scarier than those two.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's some.
I have a strange, kind of soft spot for the Fear and Fear 2.
Yeah, me too. I like them.
Yeah, they're just fun movies. So
that was 6 for you, right?
Yep. What do you got for number 6?
Number 6, I have Lisa Frankenstein. I
Okay.
loved this movie. Oh man, I had
Yes.
so much fun.
Yeah. We both did.
Quick story before anybody craps on it in the comments. My mom is a big fan of this one, so before you go insulting it,
Yeah.
I'll take it to heart. My mom recommended this one to me. She watched it a bunch of times. It was just a movie she had a lot of fun with. So I kind of kept putting it off because I was like really curious to see how I was going to feel about it because I knew how much she loved it. So when we finally
Yeah.
watched it, we watched this one not long ago.
Yeah.
Both of us, we had a blast. We had a
I
blast.
did you tell her how much we loved it?
I did. I texted her right
Did you?
away, and it was
Yeah.
still in there.
Yeah. This movie blew me away. Absolutely blew me away.
Yeah, it's so much fun. This is talk about rewatchable. This is the one that I know I'm going to be revisiting a bunch.
Yes.
When he walks in that bedroom with the axe, man, that just did it. So good.
Yep.
Yeah, I loved Lisa Frankenstein. Obviously it's a horror comedy, so if people don't like horror comedies, fine. But for me, talk about rewatchability. This is one that I
Yes.
know I'm going to enjoy time and time again. Loved it.
Yep.
Also, again, I love the 80s vibe of it. The music, the soundtrack,
Yes.
all that.
Mhm.
Time frame. Loved it.
Top 5, guys. It's our
Yeah.
top 5. My number 5 is Trap. Of course, we already talked about Trap. Man, I had a good time with Trap. And for all the reasons that we had already stated, the concert, I think M. Night Shyamalan's daughter is not only extremely attractive, but she's a really, really good singer.
Yep.
Let's see what else. It's just good. And this is the one thing I was going to say before. I thought that even though he's a crazy serial killer, the relationship between him and his daughter, I thought was so good. It really put the movie over the top for me.
Yeah.
I found that to be so interesting.
That's the irony. It's like he comes
It
across as
is.
this great dad. Like
I
he's like this
know.
good family man,
He's a
but
great dad.
yeah.
He's a great dad. But he kills people.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know. I just, man, I really like that movie. It's so good. I was not disappointed. All right. What do you got for number 5, Joe?
Number 5, Godzilla Kong: The New Empire.
Nice.
Like I was just saying about Lisa Frankenstein, this is another one that has the rewatchability factor.
Yes.
The fact that it's a Godzilla movie. This is our third movie now with Dan Stevens on this list. I mean, what's not to love about it? I love all the Godzilla movies as they are anyway, especially this new MonsterVerse Godzilla.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved the first Godzilla versus Kong. That was, I think, my second favorite movie of that year. And now we have this one, and I mean, it's just fun from start to finish.
It is. Yeah, it's awesome.
It was this was number 3 for a while. Up until recently, I thought this was going to be pretty much solidified in my top 3, but then things happen.
Yeah, they do. Okay. Number 4, I have Lisa Frankenstein.
Okay.
I love this movie. I thought it was so good. I had a blast. I laughed like hell. I have not seen, well, there's a couple of them this year, but this was by far one of my favorite movies that we watched this year. That's why it's number 4. It's just so clever. It's so clever. It went so dark at the end, but it didn't go dark as in like
it was an appropriate dark.
Yes. It finally went there. After everything that happened in the film, I was like, yes, this is just priceless.
Yep.
This movie is priceless.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to like it as much as I did because I heard a lot of good things about it. And my daughter doesn't like horror. I talked to her about it. I said, you got to watch this movie called Lisa Frankenstein. She said, I already saw it. I loved it. I was like, wow. It's so good.
Yeah.
I had a problem with putting it at number 4.
I know.
But,
I mean, even I was having an issue with where it was, but
it's just rewatchability. Rewatchability is going to be so much for that one. Yeah. And that's my number 4, Lisa Frankenstein. What do you got for number 4?
This is where I have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So this was my number 2 for a while. Like I said, it was pretty much established there, and I thought it was going to end up there because I am a huge Ghostbusters fan.
Yeah.
I don't like it as much as I love Afterlife, but I still really enjoyed it. It picks up where Afterlife basically left off. I like that we get plenty of the old with the new. It's a great way to, again, keep transitioning this older generation of Ghostbusters fans into the newer generation of Ghostbusters fans. I think it did just enough. I love the storyline with the ghost girl. That was really cool. I like that little twist in there. And I think it's probably one of the greatest Ghostbusters villain.
Yes.
I mean, Vigo is probably my favorite Ghostbusters villain from Ghostbusters 2, but I think this is a great, great villain.
Yeah.
And this is also probably the darkest of the Ghostbusters movies.
Part 2 is pretty dark too.
It is, but Part 2 also has like the brothers in the courtroom and stuff, and there's some silly stuff in 2.
Yeah.
I just feel like like you. I mean, I think you're the one who even said it when we were watching it. You said this one got really dark, and it does.
Did. Yes, it does.
I mean, not just the ghost girl storyline, but also the main villain. It's really dark.
How he manipulated.
Exactly.
Yeah,
hey, Michael, how you doing?
Hey, Michael.
So yeah, I got Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire at number 4.
Nice.
What do you have in third place?
Third place. Well, yeah, you had to figure this was coming pretty soon. This was actually my first place for a long time.
I know what it is.
But you know what it is? My number 3 is Beetlejuice. Yep. One of the things I forgot is how much I loved Beetlejuice when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
We used to watch it all the time. We used to quote it all the time. And it's just a super fun horror comedy.
Yeah.
That's probably darker than it should have been.
Oh, it is. Yeah. It's darker than
it really worked. Now, when I saw Beetlejuice, I was very hesitant to think that they were going to be able to
capture
the first one.
Yeah.
They not only matched it, they kicked it right in the ass. And I just loved it. I thought it was just so much fun.
I remember you saying you were questioning if you actually preferred Beetlejuice to the original.
I think I do.
Yeah.
And I think the reason is, this was one of the ones I watched for a second time because I wanted to make sure that I had the ranking right.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to make sure, and I do prefer, I think the pacing is just a teeny bit better.
That's funny because it's longer too.
No.
Yeah.
And I love the pacing. I love what they did with the father.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was so good. They put a lot of thought into this. I think they put a lot of heart and soul into it. And once again, I mean, Jenna Ortega, she was great.
Yep. It's also a Halloween movie, which adds to
Yes.
Great Halloween atmosphere too.
Oh man. And when you do get Beetlejuice, he's just as great as he ever was.
And you get Bob.
I love Bob. Bob's so cool. It's just such a good movie. The villain is great.
Yes.
I mean, not only you got Beetlejuice, but you also have the other villain, which I don't want to spoil it in case people haven't seen it.
No.
There's a lot of tie-ins to the first movie, of course. It's just it's another requel that they did right.
Yep.
Completely 100% right.
That's number 3 for you.
Number 3, and that was a tough one. Tough. What's your number 3, Joe?
My number 3 is Nosferatu.
Bob steals the show. Yes. I love Bob. Nosferatu,
number 3 for me. I love this movie. I watched it 2 nights in a row. As long as it is, and that was the extended cut too.
Yeah.
I just really dug it. I know earlier Annette said it's her least favorite Eggers film. You said it's your least favorite. It's actually my favorite Eggers film.
Yeah.
I just loved it. I love the setting. I think it's a gorgeous movie. I know you do
It
as well.
is. It
I think it
is.
was
Oh,
cast really well. I
yep.
love Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu, but I honestly really love Lily Rose Depp in this role. I think she had like full dedication into this character. I
I
think she
agree.
I think she was fantastic. I know it was originally supposed to be Anya Taylor-Joy, which is no surprise considering Robert Eggers. I can see her doing it
I
as
can
well.
see it. I
Yeah, I
can
think
see
she would
it.
have been great as well. I'm
Yeah.
glad it worked out this way because we've gotten to appreciate her already in two Eggers films. So, because she was in The Witch and she was in The Northman, and now Lily Rose Depp.
I completely agree.
Seeing Lily Rose Depp in this way is it's I haven't seen her in a role like this before. Like
No.
I've never disliked her, but I've never been like, okay,
No.
she's amazing. I thought she was
Exactly.
fantastic in this. I
Because of
really
the
did.
whole nepotism thing, you wonder, is she
Yeah.
just famous because of her father, just
Yeah.
like Kevin Smith's daughter,
Yep.
which of course they're friends. But I'm going to tell you, she stood on her own and then some.
Not gonna lie, it helps that she
Yeah.
does a lot of nudity in the movie. That's also a plus.
Yeah.
Um, but the movie is great. I mean, I like how they changed the story just enough. I mean, it's really rooted in the original foundation of the story,
Yeah.
but they changed it enough where it's not a not a shot for shot remake. There are
Right.
changes that were made that I think, in fact, make the story better, in my opinion.
I completely agree.
So I really like what they did with it. And again, there's something about it that's comforting to me. I just the landscapes, the snow. By the way, guys, it's a Christmas movie. It takes place at Christmas time. It all leads up to Christmas, by the way. It is a Christmas movie. But yeah, absolutely loved Nosferatu. I was on the fence with this. I didn't know how I was going to feel about it, to be honest. I'm a big
Yeah,
Eggers fan, but with the length,
me
the
too.
runtime, I was hearing people saying that it was the best movie of the year. I heard other people saying, I didn't really like it too much.
Yeah.
Didn't really know what to expect. Was really excited to check it out, and I liked it better than I expected to like it. So, um, I know it's long, but I don't know. It didn't bother me. Maybe it's because I watched it 2 nights in a row.
Yeah. I'll watch it again. I have no problem with that
I
because I
I
like the
I
film.
loved it. I really did. I really. I mean, obviously it's number three. I did not expect it to be number three,
Yeah.
but I like it that much. I could put it on right now and watch it.
There are certain scenes in that movie that are just brilliant.
I'm going to
Brilliant.
say something, and it's going to sound funny, but I think you might understand. There are parts of the movie that reminds me of the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
locations when he
Yep.
shows up to work late and he walks in,
Yes.
doesn't that office
The
remind you
papers
of the
everywhere. Yes.
Yes, doesn't that remind you
Yep.
of Scrooge's office?
Yes, it does.
So maybe that's why it's comforting to me. Plus, it's a Christmas movie. It's set around the same time. It's like it's crazy.
That's one I definitely need to watch again. I'm gonna give it a little bit of time,
Well,
but
we
I'm
can do it
definitely gonna watch it
for maybe we
again.
can do like an original or remake kind of thing for the three
Oof.
of them.
Could you? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. Can you imagine that? That would be really interesting.
it'd be fun.
Yeah. Hard.
It
Very
would.
hard.
I've already thought about it. While I was
That'd be
falling asleep
hard.
one night, I was like, okay, how would I do my original remake for Nosferatu?
Well, we had talked about it that one night. We were
Yes.
trying to find out if there were any other
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'd have
pertinent
to stick to
remakes.
like just the three
Yeah.
Nosferatu, like those three.
Yeah. 22, 79?
78, 79, yeah. 79,
78.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of those. And then yeah, this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's number three for me. All right, what do you got at number two?
Number 2, I
I know what
have
you have, but go on.
Godzilla versus
Godzilla.
Kong New Empire.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Godzilla fan. I love Godzilla. We've watched quite a few together now, and man, this movie was so much fun.
It was.
Every little thing they added, and they added some memories in there, and I was really surprised with the whole Mothra thing, that they went as deep as they went, because they didn't have to do all that.
Yeah.
Because you have this new Godzilla verse.
Yep.
But they went old school with Mothra, and I was really happy that they did that after Godzilla King of the Monsters, which I like too. But
and
they
Mothra
didn't
looks
go old school.
Mothra looks awesome in this.
Oh, amazing!
She looks great.
This movie is just awesome.
Yeah,
I could watch. I mean, I love Godzilla versus Kong. This one, it's so damn good. It is just really good. So it's a fun movie. It's high on. There's a lot of CGI, but it is what it is. You know. So good. What do you got for number 2, Joe?
Number 2, I have a little movie called Heretic.
You stuck to your guns, didn't you?
While Oddity is one of the scariest movies of the year, I personally think Heretic is the scariest movie of the year.
Yep.
Heretic does something that, yes, like Jason and I talked about, it's been done before, but in a different way. I don't think it's ever been done this masterfully.
Nope.
The storyline alone of Heretic is absolutely brilliant.
Yep.
It took years for the filmmakers to do the research in order to make the film. Now, I'm going to be very cryptic because I don't really want to talk much about the film because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it.
Me neither.
It's number 2 for a reason. It could easily be number 1. I would say, objectively speaking, is probably the best film made last year. Maybe Nosferatu, but Heretic is
Nosferatu is really good.
Yeah, I mean, but Heretic is up there, objectively speaking. Heretic is a brilliantly made film.
Yeah,
it's a brilliantly written film.
Yep,
it's a brilliantly performed film.
Yes,
and this is another one I watched 2 days in a row.
Yeah,
I watched it one day, then I watched it the following day with Jason. I basically told him, like, you need to get it. You need to get it. You need to get it. I was trying so hard to convince him to get it.
Yep.
And I'm glad he did.
So am I. And my wife was very surprised.
Yeah.
When I told her my thoughts on the film, she was very surprised.
It was fantastic. Like I said, it's hard to say too much without spoiling anything. I think this is one of those films that's best to go in knowing as little as possible.
I knew nothing.
It takes you places that you shouldn't have to go, but it works so well. Love it. Heretic is number 2 for me.
Yeah.
What is your number 1?
We usually have the same number 1. I've noticed that. This is the first year I think that we've split on this one.
Yep.
But we're close with the number 1 and the number,
Well,
because I know what you're.
There's a reason why number 1 is my number 1. But go on. Your number 1 is?
My number 1 is Heretic. I think that this is maybe the best horror movie I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's a masterpiece, to be honest with you.
It is a masterpiece.
The writing is brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it's not only scary, it's not only a great premise, but it goes deeper than that, because when you get into the meaning behind the stuff that you're being shown, it will make you ask questions.
Yep.
And if you don't ask questions, I think you've missed the point of the film.
Yep.
I
will never play Monopoly again the same way.
Nope.
I will never listen to Creep by Radiohead the same way
again.
Nope.
I think that Hugh Grant was snubbed.
Yeah.
Because he deserved an Oscar nod for this movie. It's written so well. It's one of the true, one of my truly favorite horror films that I've seen in a very long time.
And that's why, guys, like I said, I watched it. I had gotten it when it first came out.
Yep.
And Jason had some issues. He had ordered one. It came in damaged, all this stuff. He had some problems, whatever, getting it. And then he wasn't going to get it right now. And I was trying so hard to convince him because I really knew it was necessary to include it in this ranking. And I knew that he would love it too. So I was thrilled when we watched it because I was like, oh my God, please, hopefully he loves it now, because I would hate for him to get it and be like, it is expensive. But luckily, clearly, he loved it because it's his number one. So,
yeah. I would say the only film I like as much, maybe more, is Halloween Ends.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's very close because this one was truly an original thought.
When we were watching it, guys, we were saying how it's the kind of movie that makes you happy to be a horror fan. It's like inspiring to see a movie that goes that hard. Like, like it's just
it doesn't pull any punches.
No,
it doesn't pull any punches at all.
It commits to what it wants to say and it says it.
Hugh Grant was definitely snubbed. This movie had a big effect on me. Yeah. It's really good. For those of you who want to see it or want to buy it, I'll tell you the same thing Joe told me because he is 100% correct. If you do get this this Blu-ray before we get to Joe's number one,
or the 4K, they're both the same thing.
Or the 4K, it comes with, of course, the disc, and it comes with cards,
art cards
that are behind here, art cards. Do not look at the art cards before you watch the film because it will spoil the film.
Yeah.
He is 100% right. I did not look at the art cards. Thank God. I listened to him. And when I looked at the art cards after, I was like, yep, that would pretty much do it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also another added bonus to the art cards that I'm not going to tell you. You have to see it for yourself.
Yeah, flip them over when you get them.
Yeah. It had a really big effect on me. I think there are some movies that are just written so well that they just really make you think about life. And
it's not to be cliche, but there are movies that like haunt you. I haven't stopped thinking about this movie since I first watched it, and then we watched it again. I'm thinking about it like it's just been in my mind.
Yeah.
You almost feel like you're in the movie with the characters. It's weird, like the way it pulls you in. Like I feel like I'm in that house with them.
Yeah.
And that's uncomfortable because of what happens.
Oh yeah.
Verge, Walmart has it. I've seen it at a few different Walmarts around here.
I did at first.
And then he got one damaged from Amazon. Yeah.
Yes. And then it ended up in California.
Yeah.
My God, that movie was so good. I am really glad I got it. Thank you, Joe.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, me too. What is your number one? The big one. The big one.
My number one, drum roll please, is Beetlejuice. So the original Beetlejuice is one of my all-time favorite films, like overall. Like it's just one of my all-time favorite movies. I grew up watching it countless times. Yeah. I've watched Beetlejuice maybe 10 times since it came out.
Really?
And not only because of me, but because I watched it with you, I watched it myself, I watched it with my son, I watched it with my wife, I watched it with my wife multiple times because my wife loves it probably more than even I do. So
that's awesome.
She was just on a Beetlejuice kick, and we would watch like 1 and 2 back to back.
Yes. And you can do that with this movie, and it's so good.
Exactly. Beetlejuice. Again, that's how you do a legacy sequel. That is how you do it.
Yep.
Somebody who loves the original Beetlejuice so much to love a sequel like that tells you something.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of people like, oh, it's not as good as the first one. It was never going to be as good as the first one, despite the fact that Jason thinks it is. I'm just saying, the people who loved the original as much as I do, like it's like, yeah, chances. But I gotta tell you, I found myself questioning it too. I'm like, do I like this more than the first one?
Yeah, I mean,
because it's a movie that I'm going to watch every Halloween, like every Halloween season. It has like that hocus pocus Halloween atmosphere. The way the town looks and stuff, like the Curse of Bridge Hollow, like it has like that decorated feel. It's like that atmospheric, small town setting. It returns to the same town the original was filmed. You have the returning characters, Tim Burton returning.
It's smart. So smart.
Yeah. And so many nods and homages to the original while doing its
own thing.
They
leave nothing on the table. They leave nothing on the table.
I said this in my short review of it. It has it's the perfect title being called Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, because it has twice the humor of the original and it has twice the horror of the original. Because there's an aspect of it that actually plays out like a slasher in this with the villain.
Yeah.
So
awesome villain.
Oh. I don't just love this movie. I'm in love with this movie.
Yeah.
This was my most anticipated Blu-ray pickup of the year. I could not, after watching it, I could not wait for the Blu-ray to come out. I was literally like so impatient. I could not
I
wait to
remember
get to the
that.
store and buy my damn steelbook of this movie. I needed it right away. Absolutely love it. Yes, Michael, it is. It
Yeah.
perfect
It's
is
so
the
good.
blueprint of a
God, it's
legacy
good.
sequel. And this is a movie, and the reason why it's number one for me is because I know that it's the movie I'm going to watch the most out of all of these films. So for
Yeah.
me, in this case, it has the rewatchability and it also has the nostalgia because it has the nostalgia of the original for me. So that's why it's number one. Despite that, I think Nosferatu is probably objectively the best film, and Heretic being a close second to that, maybe.
Yeah.
I
it's
think
all about what you like.
Beetlejuice is like the best made legacy sequel.
Yeah.
So for me, Beetlejuice is my number one favorite of 2024.
I will probably watch that one more than I'll watch a majority of the films on the
Yes.
list.
Yeah.
I've already watched it twice and loved it both times, and I'm pretty much ready to watch it again.
Yeah. Thanks, Jack.
It just has that. It just has that factor to it. I don't know who wrote it. Who wrote it?
Beetlejuice?
Yeah. Unless maybe it was a collaboration, because whoever did knew everything about the original.
Well, you got to realize too, it's Tim Burton's baby. So I mean, he was the
Yeah.
director again too. So
So good.
it's kind of like how I anticipate Scream 7 going, like with Kevin Williamson now being the director.
Yeah.
Like it was his baby in the first place. Like obviously Wes Craven always gets credit for Scream, and no one should take away credit, but Kevin
Right.
Williamson wrote Scream. Like he wrote, I mean, those were his characters, that was his script. So this is going to be his baby, and that's what they keep talking about, like this whole behind the scenes stuff with Kevin Williamson. That's kind of how I feel about it with Beetlejuice, because you have Tim Burton who's returned, and you have Michael Keaton, and Michael Keaton has always said Beetlejuice was his favorite character to play, and he will play him for the rest of his. He said he would do a Beetlejuice movie every year for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So it just shows you how much they really had passion about this.
Beetlejuice and Billy Blazkowski.
Yeah.
Are my two favorite characters that he played.
Oh, I agree, Michael. Hocus Pocus 2 was a big letdown. We did that one for 2022.
Yeah.
Jack, I mean, I say see it, but don't have high expectations.
Hey, I mean, it is what it is. It was entertaining.
Listen, it was filmed. It was literally filmed 10 minutes for me, and I was like, eh. It didn't even get the bonus points for that. You know?
I didn't think it was terrible. I just didn't think it was anywhere near as good as the original.
No, Disney did their thing. That's what the problem is.
I know.
Disney did their, their woke
agenda.
Yeah.
That's what you've heard that Daredevil's got the new series, right? The new season.
Yep.
If they do it to that, man, I might cry.
Rob, I haven't seen VHS Beyond.
Oh, yeah, that just came out.
Yeah, dude.
I'm a couple behind. The last one I watched was 94.
I gotta catch up on those.
I watched 94. I don't really remember much of it, so it probably means I gotta watch it again.
Yeah.
But I think I'm 2 behind now again. I like them because they're anthology films, and I thought that The Viral, even though it got a lot of shit, was extremely good for that franchise.
By the way, not to be a downer, but not sure if you guys saw this news that Reggie Bannister is entering hospice care at home.
Well, we knew it was only a matter of time.
Yeah, he's leaving the VA. He had his advanced directives. He wants to go peacefully at home. So
yeah,
he's being transported home on hospice care. I saw that earlier today, and I just thought about that.
Yeah, it's funny because I need to find Phantasm Ravager for my the project that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Up in my room.
Verge, haven't seen that one yet. Sorry. And yeah,
Don't
Michael,
do
that's exactly it. You know, they're not making. They literally said they're not making it for the original audience. The Hocus Pocus. Why were you making it? Why are you making a sequel then? Like,
Yeah, why are you making it at all?
yeah.
So stupid.
I mean, if that's the case, they should have just made like a remake if they wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Make like a modernized remake of Hocus Pocus for like Disney Plus. Well, I mean, I guess it was a Disney Plus original, but don't make it a sequel then. Annoying. My cousin, I have a cousin. She that's like her favorite movie is Hocus Pocus. And
she liked the second one?
Nope. She was so upset when she saw it. It still pisses her off because like we'll talk about movies all the time. That's my cousin, my aunt's house that they go to for like the movie nights and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Goddamn Hocus Pocus 2.
So it'll come up and yeah, and like lots of times at like Christmas or birthdays and stuff, we'll get her like a new like Hocus Pocus pop she doesn't have or some kind of collectible or something to do with Hocus Pocus because she just loves that movie. And like always say, oh, that damn Hocus Pocus 2, and she gets all pissed off. She can't stand
it. Yeah, it's tough. Like I said, I'm just waiting for this new Daredevil thing. When I first saw the preview for it, I was like, hell yeah. And then I realized the whole Disney thing, and I was like, womp womp.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So yeah, guys, that is our ranking of the 2024 horror movies.
31 movies.
31 movies.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I'm ready for 2025 now. We got the first one out.
First one, yeah. Hard Eyes is number 1 right now for 2025.
Yeah. Hard Eyes. I can't wait to see The Wolfman though from 2024.
Yeah.
I want to see.
I'm looking forward to the new Final Destination.
Yes.
Have you seen the teaser for that?
No.
Looks great. Also looking forward to obviously Thanksgiving too.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a great year. Jack says, let's see, Hard Eyes was awesome, of course.
Yeah, Michael, we really want to do more live streams. I don't know. We just get behind on things. Like it's like one of those things where we can do a live stream and stream for 3 hours, or we can watch like 2 or 3 movies in that amount of time. So. But we do want to start doing more of these. That's always been the plan. Yeah.
Yeah, we like to talk. You know, I had a really good time with the Argento ranking. Yeah. This was a lot of fun.
Michael, instead of being late next stream, maybe next time or sometime soon, you can join us as a special guest.
Yeah.
And then you won't be late at all. See? No, but that'd be fun. You can come on and chat with us.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
We definitely got to set that up if you come on.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. We'll plan it. We'll plan it sometime
definitely.
soon.
Yeah, we've had some good ones this year so far. Jack, we had Jack one. We had Argento, and now the 2024.
Yeah.
What's next?
Who knows?
I know. We got a couple things going on.
Yeah. A couple.
Yeah, just a few. I came across my ranking for the ABCs of horror the other day. I was like, oh, well. Yeah, I guess we're not doing that.
Nice, Dan. Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm curious of what he thought about part 3 and part 2.
Hey, I love part 2.
I do. I like both of them.
Me too. Yeah.
So,
anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Do people really have a problem with Suspiria?
Yeah, what's up with that, guys? We had our video nasties video up today of Suspiria.
Yeah,
it's like I mean, honestly, it might be one of our worst videos ever when it comes to views. Like,
Yeah,
whose
but
Cheerios?
everybody that was here basically watched it,
Like, whose
I think.
Cheerios did we piss in? I mean, what the hell?
Yeah. It's like, it's Argento, guys. It's Argento.
Right.
I don't even. Maybe I should go back and watch it because I don't even remember how I rated it. It's been so long. I know how you rated it.
We rated it the same.
We did?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Virgie, I'll probably check it out. That'll probably be one I get when it comes out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about
I'm
that.
always up for a Stephen King adaptation, so I'm curious.
Yeah. I mean, Boogeyman. Boogeyman was an interesting one. There we go again. Interesting. You did get that, didn't you, Joe?
No, I haven't gotten that one yet.
Yeah. I liked it better the second time I saw it.
I just wasn't in a rush for that one. I know it's one that's going to turn up at some point cheap. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think did I find it at a thrift store? I think. I don't remember. It'll be in the dump bin at Walmart, but you don't have them anymore, do you?
I don't, but sometimes some of my Walmarts have like a section, like a $5 section.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? They don't put it in like the bin anymore, but they'll have like a little section of cheap movies.
I saw when I saw Hard Eyes, they put out a few horror previews, and one of them was The Monkey. Now, granted, the ones that I've seen on television didn't look all that appealing. But when I saw the preview, of course, there was more to it. And I actually thought it looked kind of interesting. I just, based on the premise, I'm not really sure how you're able to.
That's why I'm going to wait on that one. I'm going to see what happens.
Yeah.
I am happy though that they already have a sequel announced for Hard Eyes, so that's good news.
Oh, they should. I mean, I'll take one of them every Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I mean it's already in production. It's called Hard On. They take things to the next level in that one.
I'm sure. they got away with the pink one in the original. That's the killing implement.
Yep. Yeah, me too, Jack. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. Yeah. I'm actually kind of oddly looking forward to the even though I don't get Hulu, but the Alien Earth.
Yeah.
Kind of interested to see what they're going to do. I always, wanted them to go back. Well, they did in the Alien versus Predator movies, but that was always the goal, I guess.
Yeah.
Of the Wayland Company to get the alien back on Earth and somehow control it.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty then. So, yeah, I think that's it. That's it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. This has been fun.
Damn right.
Went by very quickly. It's funny how much time we put into these things, like the prepare for them, and then we're just like that.
Yeah. We've been preparing for this one for a long time.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like this one comes out then, and this one comes out then, and this one comes out then. And yeah, you kind of, yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you all for joining us. This has been a lot of fun.
Definitely.
We definitely plan on doing more live streams, so just stay tuned. And like always, remember, physical media matters. Thanks, guys.